Welcome back to Adventure Hook, Dark Sun, Fire, and Sand. To Adventure Hook, Dark Sun, Fire, and Sand.
Perfectly executed. Perfect. Fucking nailed it. I love hearing it again and again and again. Oh my god. I think Aaron's dead.
I think so. It was so funny that it killed him.
Oh my god.
We tried, man. We tried.
We tried so hard today. Welcome to Dark Sun, Fire, and Sand. Yeah, we're back. All right, I'm sorry about that. My name is Aaron Campbell. I am the DM. I play the Wanderer, and with us tonight, as usual, full cast and crew today. Go Mark. Go for Mark.
Hello, I'm Marc Andreyko, writer of stuff you probably haven't read. And I am Chard the Fire Angry Dwarf.
I am Joe Annabi. I play Geza Akos, the Wind Exarch.
And I'm Joseph Millard. I play Graucus, the half-giant barbarian.
I'm Emelie O'Hara. I play Desiderata, the half-elf bard.
And I'm Robert Randle. I play Ma'akari, a Thri-Kreen psionicist specializing in telepathy.
Okay. All right. Well, one step closer. That was my fault. I was the one getting the reverb. First time I have ever launched Twitch and the sound was on. Like every time, every single time up until tonight, when I turn Twitch on and I turn the stream on, it is auto set to mute. Tonight, nope. Gods of technical difficulties decide, fuck you, and you're planning ahead. So, anyway, thanks.
Just be glad that they took their toll early, and hopefully they'll accept our sacrifice and move on.
Hopefully that's it. Yes. Let's pour some Ascles wine out for them. So. I think before we get straight into it, we don't have much banter tonight. The only thing I wanted to say was that I think before we get straight into it, we don't have much banter tonight. The only thing I wanted to say was that.
All right, I guess they weren't satisfied.
That was not me. I swear it was not me.
That was absolutely me.
I
never
fucking get
I
God.
never log into Twitch, and I think I have the bandwidth to do it tonight, and then yeah.
God damn.
Paying our dues, gents. We're paying our
dues.
I guess we all have to realize now that I guess Twitch has changed so that it is the sound is now auto on and not auto off. So I guess we have to bear that in mind now. Anyway, what I was saying before is that my new book through DC is coming out this Tuesday. Suicide Squad Blaze. It's me, Cy Spurrier, Jordy Belair. Aditya Bedekar on letters. Amazing. He won. He was the only member of the Hellblazer team from last year to get an Eisner. We're super excited about how it turned out. It's Black Label. It's Prestige Plus format. So magazine size and whopping 48 pages each. So get to the comic shop and buy all of them. And there's two covers. There's my cover, and then there's a variant by Matthias Bagheera, who was the second artist on Hellblazer. So did all of the more comedic issues of Hellblazer. I think without further ado, there is I hear somebody outside actually talking about the dragon.
Oh, the Dorgon.
So you say that the dragon attacked north of Uruk? Out of nowhere. Well, I mean, that's how he operates. But survivors? No. All dead. And how large was the town? 1,000. Oh. It's terrible. Well, make special offering to the elements that he doesn't make his way down in this region anytime soon. Ooh, I just heard that some news about the movements of the dragon. Evidently, he has been spotted in the regions north of Uruk. If what they say is true, he wiped out an entire village. Something like 1,000 people were killed. But that's the way the dragon functions. You can live your entire life never seeing him, and then one day he sweeps through like a great dust storm and obliterates everything in sight. This is the world that we've lived in our entire lives, never knowing day to day if the dragon might decide to rear its tyrannical, hideous face and destroy everything in sight. I know, however, that it has been quite some time. It's been longer than my lifetime since there was an attack on any of the great cities of Athos by the dragon. What the Sorcerer Kings do to keep it at bay is a mystery to me, but elements thank them. It may be the only good they do in this world. And speaking of the dragon, turns out perhaps there may be altruism in Athos after all. For it would seem that a mysterious sect of monks who go about with the dragon's head tattooed upon the napes of their necks, known as the Verdant Revival, have been spreading goodwill and aid to the beleaguered masses of Tyr. They have this tattoo in obstinate rebellion against the dragon, showing the rest of the people that they do not or they will not live their lives in eternal fear of its tyranny. The Verdant Revival emerged in Athos about a year ago. They seem to be a pseudo religious order that preaches the destruction of the dragon and the return to a former time of plenty. They have become well known for distributing clothing, food, and water to the needy. They also hold public sermons that prophesy the death of the dragon and the rebirth of Athos. When the order first appeared, they were also heard to espouse the end of the reign of the Sorcerer Kings. As a result, the Templars rounded up many of the members of the order, and it's whispered that they were either executed or sent into slavery, probably upon the ziggurat. Otherwise, the order was allowed to continue so long as their preaching stuck to fantasies of the dragon's demise and a return to a golden age of plenty. The order relies on the support of individuals known as advocates. They provide the revival with the funds and resources necessary to do their work. One would suspect these advocates to be the patrons of the revival, but it would seem the reverse. But exactly how this relationship functions remains unclear. And if the revival are patrons of the advocates, just who stands for the revival? It was one such advocate, Arup Canuck, daughter of a senator, who has invited the Clutch to attend the next sermon of the Verdant Revival at high noon on the following day in the infamous Shadow Square. So, you guys all had quite an eventful night in the Gold Ninox. Made lots of interesting new contacts, had some interesting revelations, and have kind of set up a bit of a long game, or perhaps a short game over the next several days of what you want to achieve. Primarily, you know that tomorrow at high noon, there is going to be a sermon held by the Verdant Revival that Geza and the rest seem very interested in attending to get to know this upstart organization better, to see if perhaps they are as good as they seem. There's also a clandestine meeting supposed to be happening with another member of the Clutch, which none of you know about. And after you all retired, for the most part, Mock stayed up because Desi returned from her small time alone to reflect and to center herself. And a conversation ensued for several more hours, late into the night, between the two of them and Pressure. So it is now early, unless there's any last things that you want to throw out there in terms of what you wanted to do as you prepared for the night and the next day. Let me know now, otherwise we can fast forward to the next morning.
No, I just want my full rest.
Okay.
I have a question, just as a little bit of maintenance, I guess. A long time ago, I asked Geza to teach me how to read, and I'm wondering how that's coming along.
A long time was probably like 2 or 3 days ago.
I think we
Maybe a little. Actually, it's probably more like a couple weeks ago that you started.
Yeah.
So I mean, we could actually, if you want to do a intelligence check, because Geza, you have those reading primers, so you could actually get her started. So, and that could just be a simple intelligence check for this past week. And I think that might be a good way to go about this, is like each week you do an intelligence check to see like kind of how. Right now, Geza is probably in possession of 4 cylinders for this primer, and each cylinder would take probably a month's worth of successful intelligence checks. So once you get through 4 of those, then you've mastered that particular cylinder, and you can move on to the next. So go ahead and give me an intelligence check. And since you have Geza as your, like, since it's not just the cylinder, but you also have a teacher as well, I'll give you advantage on that intelligence check.
Okay. Vamp for me a little bit, because I just got lost in D&D Beyond.
Oh, and yes.
Roll intelligence.
Yeah, let's roll an intelligence check. And I'm going to.
Oh, there it is. I found it.
And is it just Desi, or can any of us be taught how to read?
Yeah, you all could. It would require. It's obviously going to be easier to find time with just one individual, but of course you could all compile and.
I mean, it's maybe what we do around the campfire sometimes, or something like that. You know, I mean.
Technically, it would require an hour of study per night for a week.
Well, let's assume we try to fit it in when we can, because we all understand how important this is. So,
Ooh, I just rolled a 20. Sorry.
Nice.
Oh, nice. So yeah, you definitely kind of sail through the first aspect of the primer, and that probably has a lot to do with also the fact that you already understand the personal language of your particular merchant house, which is, I mean, technically just exists to notate inventory, but that's kind of where you start with this reading primer, is very simple concepts like that. So you're able to master that. So I would just note that, like, on your character sheet under notes, that you've passed the first stage of cylinder 1, and there's 4 stages to each cylinder. So, and you've got 4 cylinders to go through, and after you get through these 4 cylinders, you'll have a basic understanding of how to read and write.
Cool.
You know, it's going to basically, it'll give you like a kindergarten level of reading and writing, you know. So, okay. So, having said that, Anything else anybody else wants to do before you guys settle in for the evening?
Not unless you want the rest of us to make these intelligence rolls. Otherwise, yeah, I think we're all getting our long
raise
rest
your
in.
hand if you're interested in engaging in this, because like
I think I'd raise all 4.
Crocus has been drinking all night. He's going to sleep.
Yeah. So yeah, Crocus or Maak, you can give me an intelligence check
Cool.
as well.
All right, here we go.
You just got to remember, like, you'll have to find an hour like each day to like work together.
No, that's fair. I think that's probably doable, especially when you roll a nat 20 for a 25.
Okay. Nice. So yeah, you fly through it as well.
Nice. Cool. Maybe I remember another life where I was literate, and so somehow it sort of connects.
Yeah, I would say, like, there's no such thing as like a critical success on ability checks in
Right.
5th edition, but what I can say is like a nat 20 for a Thrycreen would unlock an ancestral memory of a past life where you did have some experience with reading.
Do I have experience with common, or am I remembering the Thrycreen language just by association?
I think it would be actually common, because that's what.
Oh, okay, cool,
That's what
interesting.
these cylinders are.
Oh, yeah. No, it makes sense. I was just asking. No, cool, cool. So we both done 1 of 4 of cylinder 1. That's cool. All right.
Yeah. All right.
And on our character sheets, we should all hit the long rest button now. Is that correct?
Yep.
Nice.
That means you're going to recover all your spells. You're going to recover your hit points. You're going to recover all kinds of shit.
Wait,
So,
how do
you
you
guys
do
do
a
that.
rest?
There is.
Oh, I see. Long rest. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Joseph figured it
top
out.
of the character sheet.
He's super
And
smart.
Mark, do you know where to look? It's right up at the top of your character sheet.
He figured it out.
Okay.
Joseph is super
All
smart.
right. So while you guys do that, you have actually probably one of the most pleasant night sleeps that you've had in recent memory in this suite. So Desi, just so you are aware, since you weren't around for this last time, the clutch bartered with the owner of the Golden Inex for room and board. And
Pretty sure we talked about this last time.
Oh,
but,
okay. I think so. So just we
have a suite for an indefinite amount of time. We'll eventually run out of credit, but it's going to be at least a week, if not a week and a half.
Yeah, I mean, you were basically given like 10 silver pieces worth of credit for the Golden Inex.
12, if I remember.
12, right? Sorry, 12. And that's going to go quite a long ways. And sorry, there's like a weird little black creature like kind of coming into view right now. Get back. These Athasian birds are odd ones. So yeah, you wake up in the morning and come down into the taverna and have your breakfast. That's going to take away 1 ceramic piece from the lot of you each.
Do we have an account?
Oh, we had credit.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you want to deduct a ceramic.
Oh yeah.
piece.
It's all on credit at this point. This is our new headquarters until we get kicked out.
So that's a ceramic piece for all of you. That's plenty. It's for everybody. You get like some Pharaoh gruel and some watered down broy, which is kind of like a standard workers fuel for the day. And yeah, so for all 5 of you, that's just going to come up to 1 ceramic piece. Now,
1 ceramic per person, you mean?
No, for the entire group. 1 ceramic for the entire group.
Good. Yeah. That's what I had noted. 1 ceramic per night. Okay.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So,
Do we have a
that's for your
treasurer among us?
What's that?
I'm the treasurer. I'm the treasurer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so as you're down there having your Pharaoh gruel sweetened with cank nectar and your watered down broy, You can also get it with some milk from if you want to mix it with some milk, they also have that, but you're not quite sure what exact beast that would be coming from. There's many possibilities in Athos. So as you're sitting there, pressure comes into the tavern. After you've been sitting there for maybe like half an hour or so, and walks up to the group of you and says, "I've made contact with the individuals we spoke of last night. Everything's set up." He looks to, let's see who he looked to. He looks to Craucus and he says, "Your fight is set for tonight."
Yes. Excellent.
He says, "It's going to be held at Narissa's Colors and Scents.
I will become.
Proprietor." Sorry?
I will become limber and ready.
Please do. The proprietor, Narissa Drev. Narissa Drev. She takes great pleasure in spectacle. So be prepared, but keep in mind, these are non-lethal bouts.
Non-lethal bouts?
Of course, it's an exhibition bout. You'll be fighting against a gladiator who is set to fight in the High Sun Games 3 weeks hence.
So am I supposed to lose?
No, you certainly don't have to lose. And it should be noted, if you win, you could perhaps garner a spot in the games for the High Sun.
Okay. Thank you for this news. I will prepare accordingly.
Unfortunately, I don't know the name of your combatant.
It does not
I'll
matter.
try to find.
Craucus will crush and win.
So that is Pressure's voice, which I'm gonna dispense with for a little bit. He tells you to. He's like, Narissa is somebody that I've known for some time now. She's a good contact actually to have. She runs the shop she runs is the Colors and Scents. It's a jewelry and perfumery in the Noble Quarter. And he looks to you, Desi, and he says, she also tends to dabble in the sale of contraband substances, much like the one I used or was attempting to use against you.
Is she your contact?
She's my
I mean,
contact.
is she your supplier? Sorry.
Oh, yes, she is my supplier. When I have the money. Otherwise, I'll go to the Elf Quarter. But if I have the money, she's where to get the good stuff. But she has particular tastes. When you arrive there this evening, and he tells you when you're supposed to arrive, it's like right after after sundown. He says, like, you need to indulge her sense of self, I'll say.
Okay.
She takes offense easily.
Like,
So
does
just
she
keep
have
that
a?
in
Does she
mind.
have a? Oh God, my internet.
Does she what? I can hear you. Maybe you
Oh,
can't
good.
hear me.
Does she have a? Does she have like a title that she likes to be addressed by?
Madam Dreve is what I typically call her. She's of the noble class, but I mean, as at running the shop, she pretends at fabulous wealth. Her connections certainly are lock hard or die hard, but I'll just say this. She's an interesting character. The colors and scents every night, her townhouse, the second floor, her private quarters are turned over to debauchery and frivolity every night. And she entertains some of the most powerful and influential individuals in the city, simply because of what she offers as spectacle. So expect that when you're there, to be propositioned, to be offered all manner of drink and drug and anything you might want that evening would probably be available to you if you so chose. With that in mind, however, she turns to kind of the rest of the group. Actually, she turns to you. He turns to you, Char, and he says, "Now, as for this contact of mine that can get you into the subterranean caves beneath the crystal waters, which is the name of the bathhouse that you guys have decided you're going to try to ambush. What's his name? Bap's cousin.
Dinezo?
Dinezo. Yeah, sorry. Thank you. I've set up a meeting with you, with my contact. Her name is Omalero. She's a human and a thief, and she knows Undertier probably just about as well as anyone I've met. She's a harsh individual, and she'll expect recompense, and be prepared to pay for her drink and food when you meet her, because you will be meeting her at the... Give me just a second. I had this in my mind, and then it disappeared. The Midnight Sands. You will be meeting her at the Midnight Sands after the sermon by the Verdant Revival. I've told her that you're interested in learning more about that organization, so she will be waiting. The Midnight Sands is another taverna, much nicer than this. Sits situated on Shadow Square. She'll be waiting for you there. Is there any questions? Is there anything else you need from me at this time?
What was her name again?
Omalaro. Omolaro.
And she prefers to be referred to as Lady?
Oh, that was the...
Oh, did I cross some wires?
Yeah, Madame
Marissa.
Dreve.
Madame Dreve.
Madame Dreve is for the colors and scents. Omalaro is... We're gonna meet at the Midnight Sands.
Yeah. And she's a thief. Evidently, she knows Undertier. She knows the subterranean regions of the city, as well as anybody.
And I have a...
Go ahead.
Aaron, I don't know if you're checking in the chat, but could you move your mic closer? I'm having a really hard time hearing you.
See, like, the problem is if I get my mic closer, then it's like right. It's in camera. Well, it's going to be in camera. We're going to have this little guy right here. So how's that?
That's fine.
How's that?
It sounds fine.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. Much better.
Okay. Okie doke. So, Joe, did you have something to say?
Probably unrelated, but I have a badly written note about Laj Abish and the Rat's Nest in Shadow Square. We didn't have a time to meet Laj. That was just in general. That's where we can find her. Is that correct?
Yeah, if you need to get in contact with her, that's like the place she typically haunts. Which the Rat's Nest, Pressure can tell you too. The Rat's Nest is also on Shadow Square.
Oh yeah, great.
Yeah, Pressure tells you Shadow Square is basically the red light district of Tyr.
Can I double check with Maak telepathically and ask him if Kraukis is fighting tonight? Does that not double book us?
All right. Well, right now Maak is just doing one-on-one telepathy. He is not exercising metaconcert yet. It's going to be a long day, so he's reserving his strength. But one-on-one is not a problem. So just to him, he would say, if Kraukis is fighting in the evening, we should not have a conflict because the overlap in times. So I understand, is the speech in Shadow Square. Given by the Verdant Revival will happen at the same time as my meeting is supposed to occur.
Is it noon?
So it may in fact be a distraction. The question is, I would very, very much like Laj to be nearby when this happens. So if we can hit the Rat's Nest first or something like it, maybe that would be to the best. Otherwise, I will need to use my telepathy to reach out. Which I will do when we're closer.
So your thing is also at noon. You want Laj to be there.
I think it would be for the best. Yes.
For your thing. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, my scheduling is all off.
Now, provided that we that encounter is successful, then yes, I think we should be in attendance for Kraukis's event with this perfume lady, whoever she is.
Madame
Drive. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know anything about.
That's after sundown.
Sorry?
After sundown.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll have time by then. We'll see what we actually encounter. I'm not sure how today is going to go, but now that you've had a chance to sleep on it, what do you want done about Shazar? Have you reached your final decision?
Well, my question to you is,
you know what? Can I just interject real quick? And I need to make one correction. That meeting with Omolaro it's actually happening. It's before, not after the sermon. I misspoke. So.
Okay, so which meeting is that?
You need to be an hour. You need to be there an hour before the sermon at the Midnight Sands to meet Omolaro, then the sermon, and then your meeting with.
I'm sorry. Who is Omolaro?
Omolaro is your contact that's going to get you in. Go ahead.
I was just saying she's the contact that gets us beneath the bathhouse.
Right. Okay. Right. No problem. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine,
so,
that's fine.
Aaron, just to clarify, you're saying there's no overlap in time for any of these things?
No.
There's overlap with Shazar and the Verdant Revival speech.
Mm-hmm.
Micah's
Pressure made sure, Pressure knew that you wanted to go see the Verdant Revival, so he made sure that he set all this stuff up so it didn't overlap.
So it does not overlap. Shazar and the Verdant Revival do not overlap.
That does. Yeah. But it'll ultimately probably help Maak because Maak was told to come alone. So technically he won't be alone, but he might be able to recuse himself, kind of sneak away a little bit.
Yeah, that's more or less what he was planning to do. But we'll see how it all goes. Especially a lot depends on whether I can make contact with Lajabish again. But there's a lot of chachkachas in the air right now. We'll see how it goes.
You guys have an in-character conversation. I really need a bio break so that I can. I'll be right back.
Okay, so my question for I have a lot of questions. So let's try to be. I'm going to try to be as succinct and exact as possible. But first off, when you do meta consort, can you reach minds that strangers? Can you bring strangers into meta consort?
Strangers, no. I need to have first established a mind link with them, and that requires me to be within. Give me a second. I think it's 120 feet, but give me a second. Yes, I need to be within the first time to reach a person telepathically. I need to be basically within eyesight of them, within about 100 feet or so.
And you can't break in. You have to have permission.
No. I can contact your mind, your surface thoughts, the same way that I could speak aloud and your ears would hear it.
Oh.
If we were to go deeper.
No deeper. I don't need deeper.
Just
Deeper.
surface
I just need
communication.
exactly what you said.
Of again, that is language based. So if the person does not speak either common or Thri-Kreen, I will be at a loss. But otherwise, I can make myself understood. And even without language, we can still communicate with emotions. So there is a way to communicate with all sorts of creatures, not just intelligent ones. But metaconcert is the one that allows us to go deeper. And eschew language. Sorry, what were you asking?
How many at once?
I can metaconcert with up to 8 minds, including myself.
Okay. And now, what, in your understanding, for Bap, I'm going to call him because it does not sound like Cha'ar, so I do not get confused. Bap, this eye of his, what? Because I am thinking, as you know, of removing it. So I specifically, what do we know that it does?
I don't think we specifically know anything. I think we can suspect a few things.
We know it's evil.
Sorry, what?
It's evil, right?
I think we would think it was evil. Absolutely.
that
I think
stuff
we
in the-
think magic is evil in general. Any kind of magic that's not clerical or psionic, I suppose. We would consider to be very dark, right? The work of dark.
Clerical,
Now, I mean, we're starting to learn about these preserver people who are supposedly the other side of the coin, but
but
we're
we
not.
have to be quick.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would say.
So this eye, we suspect this eye of being the link, yes, between the psychic hold on him and whoever's holding him, yes, specifically?
I think so. It seemed that was the way it seemed to be presented to.
So can
Char?
Desi pluck his eye out of his head and steal his bag and we
One
put the eye
moment.
in that bag?
That's what we're considering. We're considering that very
So-
seriously.
And then I can kill him.
Hold on. My thought, Ma'ak, is this. If we are standing in a crowd that has gathered many people, perhaps you and I am very good at reading people, perhaps you and I can find 8 people who are pickpockets. They are there to thieve, preferably somewhat brutish. If you can say to them, there's a man coming with an eye patch. Under that eye patch is a precious stone. If we can incite 8 strangers to jump him and tear out his eye, what do you think of this?
Why not do it ourselves?
My thinking of why we do not do it ourselves is because as long as that eye is in him, it may be relaying information to whoever is controlling him, and to see us is to know is to give them information and whereabouts on us.
I agree. I agree with that 100%. This is why, one, I think that our plan would be predicated on Laj being nearby, because Laj's wild talent, as you know only too well, is to remove a mind from metaconcert.
Oh!
With Laj's help, we can
Oh yes, of
hide
course I knew that.
Bap. Yes. 2, if Bap truly wants free, he may submit to willingly have the eye removed. And if you remember, the other thing that he has on his person is his smuggler's pouch, which hid the orb. If you remember that 5-pound orb, it could certainly hide the smaller one as well. And in theory, he would no longer be locatable. These are conjectures that we have made based on experiences we have already had, but it is all a risk.
May I interject that can we stop trying to keep him alive?
Well, but you are not in this conversation. This is a psychic
Oh
conversation.
my God, I'm sorry. I thought we were shared metaconcept.
No, I haven't started metaconcept
Normally,
yet, 'cause
yes. Yeah.
normally.
My bad. Sorry, I'll shut
no,
up.
I'm prepared to say however we feel that radiating off you.
I mean,
you see Char's sitting over there drawing pictures of Bap in the sand on the
stabbing him in
table
the
and then
eye.
like stabbing it.
Stabbing a picture in the
Tearing it out,
corner.
I mean,
He gets
I
more
think-
opportunities to screw us over. It's insane.
So I would
mean-
say, Mark, feeling Char in the corner, I cannot help but be a little bit sympathetic. So perhaps we can meet in the middle if you want to approach him head on and to try for reason and logic and compassion, for which I honor you, although I do not trust it myself. Perhaps it is me and Laj that lay in wait in the shadows in case all does not go swimmingly.
I think we are in complete agreement on that. I imagined that my clutchmates would be nearby, ready to spring an ambush should one be required, should diplomacy fail.
Do we take anyone else with us, or are they more important in the square? Is it more important to them to be in the square?
Well, it comes down to ultimately these are going to be choices that Shazar or Bap will have to make. He could try to kill me. He might be very successful if he brings his full Defiler magic to bear. To do so in the sight or the near sight of so many members of the Verdant Revival may have some other positive unforeseen consequences, regardless of the outcome for me personally.
Oh, I may have had misunderstanding about where this is. My understanding was that it was going to be clandestine. Is it going to be in the middle of a large group of people?
I think I would step off to the side away from you, but not so far away from you. And we would certainly have Metaconcert active at that time, in which case distance is more relative.
Oh, see, I was imagining that Square was here and your meeting was way over here in an alley, but I am incorrect. It is actually going to be at the same.
Would you? He might be more inclined to talk with me if I was out of view, but if he was more inclined to ambush me, particularly with the aid of other Mermillion fellows, then that would certainly be to his advantage as well. That was why I had chosen something neutral. But if you want me to try to engage his trust, I will do something more trustworthy like that.
I mean, your Mock, like your assumption is that Bap is going to reach out to you because all he said was Shadow Square tomorrow at noon. Come
Right.
alone.
I figured some stranger who wasn't Bap, but was Bap, he's masquerading as someone else, would come up and give me a message, and I'd go somewhere and have a private conversation, and then maybe he'd try to kill me, we'd say. Right?
Yeah, you don't actually know what Bap's plan is.
I don't. It is a total risk. It is a total risk.
Oh, I did, because yes, this does change very much. Also, who comes to the square alone? No one goes to the square alone. Come to the fair alone. Come to the circus alone. In what world?
Well, I mean, I could, once the revival begins and whatever speeches are happening, probably the crowd would be wrapped in attention. I could slip away without being noticed too greatly. At least as far as Bap was concerned.
We don't know if he is planning to spring a trap. It may be in the square, for all we know.
It's true. I mean, I can't imagine that a bunch of defilers would have any love for these verdant revival cultists, but perhaps that's a mischaracterization for them. I'm not sure what to think. But I will do what you advise. Whatever you would like me to do, Desi, I will do. If you would like me to lead him into a trap, I will happily do so. I am sure Char would relish the opportunity. It's just up to what we decide.
It sounds like he will be leading you, because as of right now, he is the one with all of the cards in his hand.
But there's nothing to make me follow him if I do not choose to do so. If I do not trust him, I've been speaking very idiomatically. I'm sure Ma'ak wouldn't use anything like this, but if I smell a rat, something along those lines, if it doesn't seem safe to me, I won't follow him. Or I may insist on a new place. I may press upon his desperation. If he truly wishes to be free, he may compromise.
I don't, we do not have, I feel, I may be incorrect, but I feel that I do not have enough information to make a concrete plan. And it is, it
Well,
may
at this
be.
point, pressure interjects and says, "I hate to cut you off, friends, but you probably need to start making your way to Shadow Square to make your appointment with Omalaro. Time is running short, and you.
Well,
have
let's walk and talk
travel.
then. That's fine. We can do that telepathically, certainly. But
I
I
almost
agree.
feel
We
like
don't
you
want
and
to be
I
late
should
for
be
any
like
of these
chatting
meetings.
in the chat or something while everyone else. You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, excuse me. Actually, if we're about to set out, I think Ma'ak would actually activate meta concert, and then everyone would feel or hear his telepathic voice in their minds. Greetings to you, friends. Let us make Getok chat again. And we can consult one another about the plans for the day.
What?
As we make our way towards Shadow Square to meet with this contact.
I plan to rest and eat and prepare for my battle tomorrow.
Good night, honey.
I thought I was meeting my patron tonight.
No, you're backing us up right now to look fearsome so that no one attacks us. But do you have the requisite weapons or armor that you will need for your fight, Craucus? I know we just came from the desert.
Yes. Unless I'm supposed
Don't
to
you
wear
just have like a stick?
I have a big
What's your
stick.
weapon?
I have a big
club.
big stick and these. And unless I'm supposed to wear a banner of the patron, I will enter as is.
Yeah. Well, the fight tonight is fists only, so
Oh,
perfect,
okay. Well,
yeah.
then,
yeah,
fine. Yeah, you're already armed. Great.
yeah, yeah. So, anything else you guys want to do last minute before you set out from the Golden Inex?
I have a question of the whole people. Would it be crazy if I left you all to go speak to Almarillo I wrote it like Armadillo, but with an O, to go to speak with her if I went and just did a check of the square, just to do, to find, I just want to know the layout of this place before.
So while they're talking to her, you're scoping Shadow Square.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, you all don't have to be present for the conversation.
That's actually Char's mission anyway, so as long as he's there,
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't matter. I don't relish us separating in what is basically I can't help but consider this entire city hostile territory, because the second we separate, we get attacked. So it's like he's like, you stay in meta concert at least.
I promise, Dad.
Yeah, Ma'ak's almost 7. You better listen to him. I'm very experienced for one of my people.
Oh man. Okay, so you guys set out from the Golden Inex, settle up your tab with Mira, and head out into the circuit. Now, if you turn your attention to the map that you have on your screen, this is like the original map from 2nd edition. So I haven't actually had a chance to go in and finish drawing the city of Tyr, because I've got I've got work to do. But so the scale's not quite right here in terms of my version of Tyr. So just imagine that basically, as we walk down this street, things are basically in the right proportion, but the ziggurat is far larger than it's represented on this map. You leave the Golden Inex, which is actually, and also don't really pay too much attention to the layout of these alleyways. I did a lot of changing on that. So just in general, as the caravan way snakes its way down towards Iron Square, and keep in mind that the Golden Inex actually sits on the north corner of this alleyway, not the south corner. But you make your way down through the circuit, down Caravan Way, past the alleyway where Char was ambushed yesterday, and towards Iron Square. Iron Square being the merchant hub, the beating heart of the mercantile system of Tyr. And as you enter into Iron Square, you can see that it is a great straight thoroughfare that goes separates in either direction and goes around sort of a central block of buildings, and then it's very even. It's probably the most structured part of the city you've been in right now. It's certainly a newer part of the city, and as you walk through, you immediately pass by this first building to your left, situated on the northeast side of Iron Square. And you can see the sign outside. And Desi, you're going to be the one who is able to recognize all of these symbols hanging outside of these, what are ostensibly emporiums and gigantic warehouses. And so as you pass, this first building you pass is House Mickey, one of the great houses of Athos, spelled M''Ke. Directly opposite as you enter into Iron Square, you see houses Salaxa and House Vordan. House Vordan, you know, is the major merchant house that is actually headquartered in Tyr. The rest of these would be considered outposts. You turn to the right, heading west, and then south down the broad thoroughfare that circuits around Iron Square, and on the northwest corner of the square, you see House Stell. House Stell, that hated fucking house from Uruk, who is a thorn in the side of your house ever since you were first beginning your rise. And it just kind of puts salt in the wound to know that they came out of all of that completely unscathed and probably more fortified in the end. You work your way down through Iron Square and around the circuit. You pass by House Sham, which comes out of Nibene. Sham is considered to be the most decadent of all of the noble houses, also one of the oldest. It's known well. It's Geza and Craucus. You know House Sham quite well.
Yes.
And you know that most of their business is conducted by their agents, and the members of the family itself keep themselves walled away in their vast palaces in Nibene, spending what little fortune they have left on wine and debauchery. Passing House Sham, you see House Wavir. And then you make your way out of Iron Square, and the last house that you see that's of any major import is House Anika. All of these houses are headquarters in one of the great 7 cities. And then as you pass House Anika, the caravan way opens up, and before you stands the monumental, unfathomably large structure, which is the Ziggurat of Kalek, a veritable man-made mountain. It rises hundreds upon hundreds of feet above the ground. And directly in front of you, you see the great stairway that leads all the way up to the summit of the ziggurat and the high temple of Kalek, buttressed on either side by what can only be described as man-made cliffs that rise 150, 200 feet above the ground, sheer walls, stones fitted so precisely you couldn't insert a piece of paper, let alone find an imperfection. And you can see the ziggurat itself, now that you're close, is sheathed in scaffolding, where thousands upon thousands of workers are busy toiling away, putting on the final touches here in the last 3 weeks before it is supposed to be finished for the High Sun Games. And at this point, what they're really doing is putting on the outer cladding of enameled ceramic work. And the ziggurat itself, it's a rainbow ziggurat. So at the bottom is deep purple, and then it transitions through all of the shades to the very top, the high temple of Kalek, which is a bright crimson red.
All of the shades of the rainbow?
All the shades of the rainbow. So it's this deep purple, then indigo and blue and green and yellow, orange, red. It is astounding to behold, and it's outside of Char, who's seen this before, it's arresting, and it causes pause. You've seen the ziggurat from the caravan way, or the gate when you came into the city, and you saw it from miles distance. But now, standing at its base, looking up, it just tapers away to the point where you can't even see the upper tiers of the ziggurat. This vast step pyramid that Kalek has been constructing for centuries upon centuries. It's said that it was begun 1,000 years ago. So you take a moment to gather yourself, and then you once again turn to the west and head past the southern end of Iron Square. And you notice a couple more, not quite major houses, more the minor. The first one you see, which kind of protrudes out past the first, is a house called House Troika, which you recognize, Desi. But just before that, kind of nestled back in between House Troika and another building, there it is, the Emporium of Haocianto.
Which number is that?
And it's number 15. This one that's kind of set back right in there, kind of in that crook.
Did it have doors on the other side too when we passed it, or just on the ziggurat side?
No, it's on the ziggurat side.
Okay.
Let's just set it on fire and be done.
No. You can see there's several guards standing inside the front, and you can see there's a young woman, probably in like her mid-20s, standing outside talking to some guards, with a caravan filled with goods, and she has a clay tablet in her hand, and she is inspecting the caravan and making impressions with a wooden stylus, obviously taking note. You have to wonder to yourself, is that her? Is that Bap's beloved?
Kame, right?
Kame, yes.
Yeah, I will take particular note of her appearance so that I could remember and recall it later.
Yeah, and I won't get into the weeds on that. I'll describe her more like when you have a proper introduction. So, unless you want to, upend
Nope.
everything,
Nope.
you can keep going forward. Okay. So you make your way along the along the northwest rim of the ziggurat, and then make a immediate turn around the corner. And after 100 yards or so, you turn and enter into Shadow Square. And I might just want to read the description from the second edition City State of Tyr handbook. Just inside the Warrens from the ziggurat sits Shadow Square. Small, relatively small, entertainment district at the junction of 5 lanes. 5 points. 6 wine shops, a gambling house, and 2 hostelries surround the plaza. The square's busiest hours usually occur between sunset and pre-dawn hours, so at present, you're probably looking out across several hundred individuals meandering around the square. Although a steady trickle of customers can be found here at almost any time of the day. So the square itself is roughly rectangular, about 100 yards across. So just under 300 feet or so. You can see people meandering here and there. It's still maybe an hour or so before high noon, a little bit more than that. So the crowd is still somewhat sparse, but you estimate several hundred individuals are coming and going. Inside the square itself, you can see there are freestanding stalls, tents set up, selling different things, food, drink, broy. There's a well right in the center of the square. You can still see that there are people lined up with their gourds and pots and any other kind of container they can find to get their daily ration, which is one of the public goods that are offered in Tyr. You're allowed so much water every day from the public wells. And there's quite a long line. And that probably makes up the majority of the crowd you see of people going to and fro, or people who have their gourds, who they have sticks over their back with buckets on either side. They're supplying not only the neighboring establishments, but their own personal needs as well. And in addition to that, you can see that this is probably one of the most cosmopolitan areas of the cities you've seen so far, outside of the Caravan Way itself, which is the main thoroughfare coming in. But you see elves and half-elves and moles and dwarves and humans and half-giants and thrycreen and other, like every manner of individual coming and going in Shadow Square. You can see people offering up obvious contraband here and there. So on and so forth. Everything you can imagine. If this was Star Wars, this would be fucking shit. I always forget the name of that town.
Mos
Mos
Eisley.
Eisley.
Mos Eisley. Yeah. This would be the
Mos Eisley
wretched
Cantina?
hive of This would be the wretched hive of villainy and scum. So that's where we are right now. And so, having said that, you guys are looking for the Midnight Sands. None of you read, and luckily, none of the signs hanging have any kind of language written upon them. But you do notice that as you walk through the Shadow Square, trying to figure out where it actually is, you see a sign hanging that shows an image of a red kank. You see a sign that shows a very jovial dwarf, like, drinking a big cup of broy. You see an image of a rat inside a nest. You see a woman weeping, her tears dropping into a glass of wine or a mug of wine. You see an image of a great half giant falling over on his side, obviously drunk. And then you see an image of a full moon over a Mechalot dune.
I've totally forgotten the name of the thing we're looking for.
It would be the
After all those
last one.
Midnight Dunes.
Midnight Sands.
The last one.
Midnight
It's the last one.
Sands. In addition, you see some other things in the area. For instance, as you're passing by, let's see. And just so you know, the Red Kank is situated at 22, so that would be the northwest corner. Along the western edge is where you see the Midnight Sands and that image of the drunk giant. Along the south side of the Shadow Square are where you see the signs for the rat nest and the crying woman. And that's the main thing that you see just off the bat.
Are there windows or doors? Can you see?
Are
there
all
windows
of
or
the
doors
buildings,
can you see inside the establishments?
well, all of the buildings around the Shadow Square are multi-story. Most of them are 2 stories. Some of them are 3. You see one of the places actually has an outside terrace on the 2nd floor where right now there's only a few patrons up there, but looking down into the square itself, and that should be, I think that's actually the Midnight Sands, actually. But at any rate, there are, in terms of doorways, the bottom level, like so many other buildings in Tyr, do not have windows. They only have the main door that enters into it. And this is, you're starting to realize this is a security measure.
Sure.
The windows all seem to be on the 2nd floor. But the doorways into these establishments
Or
are
they're too
large.
small to fit through, right? Something like that.
They would be like tiny little apertures that just allow enough natural light in and some airflow. And they're typically up high near the rafters on the 1st floor. But on these establishments, the doors are large, they're double, they open up, and so you have these big entrances into these spaces that allow lots of light, lots of air to flow through. You can see that you came in from the northeast passage. There's a road that goes directly north off of Shadow Square. Then there's a road that goes directly off the northwest corner of the square. There's a road or an alleyway that goes off the west side of the square. And then there's a large road that goes off the southwest corner of the square. So having said that, I assume you guys are going to enter into the Drunken Giant. As I think, Desi, you said you were going to kind of scope out
Sands.
outside? Yeah. Okay. So, Desi, you kind of stay behind and decide you're going to kind of get a better sense of what Shadow Square really looks like. And the rest of you can go inside the Midnight Sands. And it doesn't
Desi,
take long.
do you want... Hold on. Desi, do you want me with Cha'ar or do you want me to stay with you?
You can go with Char. Wherever
right,
you want to be. This is very not important stuff.
I want to see if Laj Abish is in the rat's nest. I don't actually need to be the one to spot him. If you can tell, or her, sorry. If you can see if she's there, that would be great. Otherwise, I would like to not go anywhere near that establishment if I could help it.
Sure, I'll do that.
I get the feeling that I would be targeted, and and I would like to stay off we don't have a term for that. So I would just like to stay as anonymous as I can for as long as I can before we start making enemies around here.
I don't mind. Yeah, I will do that, of course.
Okay.
All right, then I'll stay with Char.
Okay. So you go with Char. Desi, you stay behind. As you guys enter into the Midnight Sands, you realize it has quite a nice atmosphere in here. Obviously, they're attempting to lure important merchants and other wealthy individuals into their establishment. It boasts large cushioned booths with sheer silken curtains fluttering in the breeze, scented oil lamps, and winsome serving girls and men. It lavishes its lavish approach does seem to encourage business. But it's okay. Never mind. That stuff is something you're going to know. So anyway, obviously a high end joint on Shadow Square, and it is pretty much dead right now. It's still early morning. The winsome serving women and men are all very scantily clad in kind of white terry cloth garments. Or white linen garments, sorry, and just kind of getting ready for the day. So as you come in, you can see there's only a handful of individuals, and you hear someone doing this from sort of in the far back of the establishment, snapping at you. And when you look, you can see somebody like peeking their head out from a booth. Very dark-skinned individual, a woman, is beckoning you. As soon as you see her, she's like, and then pokes her head back inside the booth where she's sitting.
We'll go over there.
Okay. So as you approach, you can see the silk curtains are kind of drawn to the side, and inside there's back here it's very dark. But you can see already as you pass by, there are dedicated palm frond fanners who stand throughout the central aisle, helping the breeze flow through the Midnight Sands, helping to make the atmosphere just a little bit more palatable. You look at her, it's a striking individual. It's a female half-elf, ebony skin, piercing green eyes, intense red eyeshadow around either eye. She wears a skin-tight halter top that laces up the front, made from some kind of striated lizard skin. She has a dark red silk sash tied loosely around her hip, beneath which she wears bikini briefs of the same material as the halter. She has wrist razors of obsidian on either arm. She has rings on basically every finger. She has a conch necklace around her. You also notice two odd bumps in her eyebrow, just above her eye, which is odd. No eyebrows. And she has sandals, just dark leather sandals that lace all the way up above the knee. Next to her on the booth beside her is a satchel, a single strapped satchel that has lots of pouches, and you can see that the halter that she wears has slots for two obsidian daggers, which she can extract downwards. So the hilts of the daggers themselves are easily grabbed. And then you can also see laid on the booth next to her is a vicious-looking black leather whip with a gnarly-looking shard of obsidian at its tip. And she looks to you and she says,
Are you the ones that Pressure sent?
We are.
Isn't Pressure with us?
No, Pressure recused himself. Once you sorry, I forgot to mention that. He recused himself once you left the Golden Inex.
Oh, well, where's he going?
He's got other stuff to follow up for you. He's trying to find Catandeo.
I don't think we asked him to do that, but okay.
Wait, did you or did you not? I thought you did. I thought that was part of the thing.
I mean, he producing this guy or this woman, this contact was the last thing we asked him to do. But having him.
Oh wait, no. I'm sorry. It wasn't. He's trying to get information on who Craucus is fighting tonight.
Oh, okay. That's a legitimate use of his time. Definitely. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Sorry. This is not my rodeo.
Yeah.
Yes. He sent us. He said you had knowledge of the undercity tunnels.
Shh. Sit down. Be quiet. She waves her hand and motions for you to sit in, like enter into the bench and sit down.
I was under the impression I was already seated, but
Right.
No problem.
Okay. She says, "Keep your voices down. There are ears everywhere in Shadow Square. Now, you want me to get you in to the tunnels beneath the crystal waters. Is that correct?"
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why would you do something so foolish?
You really want to know our business?
Not particularly. But do you understand what you ask? Are you from Tyr?
We are not.
Yeah. I will tell you right now that Undertier is deadly on its best days. But the area that you wish me to get you entree into, well, that place is far deadlier. It is under the noble quarter, and it is filled with beasts from across the tablelands that have been placed there by the nobility of the city because they know people like me would give anything to infiltrate their palaces and townhouses. So if you want to do this, I hope you understand the danger.
What kind of beast?
Now, well, before we continue, I do believe I have not yet had my breakfast and my morning broy. And in fact, today I feel like I could use some Asticles wine. So, having said that, shall we take a bio break as you all provide Omalero with her morning meal, and we will return in like 10 minutes or so.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. We'll be right back. Okay, so
Omolaro has just told you that you're responsible for providing her with her breakfast and drink. When they come, she orders the most expensive thing on the menu. Looks like just her bill alone is going to end up being 5 ceramic pieces. So it's getting like kind of an ouchy kind of situation on your end, but you can tell just by looking at Omolaro, like this is a woman who takes absolute no shit, and doesn't give a fuck. If you want her services, you'll pay her price, kind of woman, and doesn't even flinch when she tells them what she wants for her to break her fast. So, as she's
5 ceramic.
Five ceramic pieces, okay. Which is, light actually, because it's breakfast fare. It's light fare that she's eating. If you had met her in the evening, yeah, that it probably would have been over a silver piece. You would have probably been doling out for her. So she turns back to you as she's as she eats, she stops talking to you. Like she focuses on her food and she enjoys it. And anytime you attempt to ask her a question, she just puts her hand up and says, "Please, let us enjoy." It's up to you whether, you guys have already eaten, so it's up to you whether you want drink or anything like that. But as you sit there and watch her enjoy her meal, which she does thoroughly enjoy, she then turns back to you and says, "Okay, what is the time frame on this operation?"
We were talking about it would be tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon. Is that the celebratory bathhouse visit, Kraukus?
Yes, it would be tomorrow evening.
Very well. Well, what I can do is I can take you into Undertier, and I can show you the way into that section of Undertier. From there, my work will be complete. I will provide you with maps, and I will provide you with information on what you may encounter. And I will wait for you. Make sure that no one follows you. But you're going to have to do something for me in return first.
Beyond breakfast.
Breakfast was just a courtesy for the meeting.
And what do you have in mind?
Pressure has told me what you are planning this evening in order to gain entrance into the proper section of the Crystal Waters. I know that you have a bout scheduled after sundown at Narissa's.
And you'd like us to throw the fight?
No, absolutely not. I do not care about masculine posturing and beating each other about the head. Do that to your heart's content and take whatever you might gain from it. What I am interested in is something much finer. Narissa is a jeweler and a perfumer, and those amongst the clandestine arts have been trying to gain entry into her townhouse for many years. She possesses an item of particular interest to those who know she possesses it. If you can get this item, then I'll show you the way.
Well, don't be coy. What is the item?
It's a tiara. It's not magical, but a very special tiara from the ancient world, encrusted with diamonds and emeralds, set in pure gold. If you can retrieve this for me, I will show you the way.
If this was something of cultural, like none of us have heard of this, I assume.
No, I mean, and she calls shit. What did she call it?
She says it is known as the tiara of Banshar. I don't know where the name comes from. Like I said, it comes from the ancient world. It is said that it belonged to one of the long-dead sorcerer kings. I believe it came out of Calednay.
Calednay, most of you would know that the city of Calednay is a fabled, one of the ancient fabled cities, and it was destroyed ages and ages ago. And the Sorcerer King of Calednay, name might actually have been Calednay, but
It was.
yeah, was killed ages ago. And now it is a favored site of treasure hunters, foolish treasure hunters. So evidently, this tiara of Banshar is came out of Calednay, as far as she knows.
Do you know where she keeps this tiara?
All that we know is that Narisa has a special vault on the top floor of her townhouse, where she keeps her greatest treasures. That would be where I would look. But if you can all gain entrance into her townhouse under the guise of an exhibition bout, perhaps you could make your way up there and retrieve it.
And if such a thing is not possible?
Well, if such a thing is not possible, I suppose I would make do with lesser treasures. As long as it is able to be evaluated, somewhere around 1 to maybe 3 gold pieces.
I look to my party.
Ma'ak has actually been staring around the room, pretending he doesn't understand this conversation at all. But of course, Metaconcert has been up this whole time, and he's been quiet. But up till now, he says, "This is ridiculous. For 3 gold coins, we could just pay an assassin to kill this person ourselves. We don't need her, and certainly not that much."
In Metaconcert, I agree.
And the idea is now she wants us to steal some legendary item that even the thieves of the city can't steal. Why would we? Why would he ask us, or she ask us? Why would we have any hope of doing it in the first place? And other than I don't trust it. None of it makes sense.
Well, Oma, thank you for clarifying your terms.
Omalaro.
Oh,
My name is not Oma. It is Omalaro.
I apologize. I did not mean to slight you by improperly abbreviating your name. I understand. No slight intended. However, the sentiment remains. I appreciate you clarifying your terms, and I assume we would find you here tomorrow if we were successful in this endeavor?
Yes. Meet me back here in the morning with whatever treasure that you can find, preferably the tiara. And then we'll see.
Okay, then we shall see tomorrow. And I will stand up from the booth and wait for my friends to join me.
Okay. All right. You can head back out. Okay, so Desi, you've been walking around outside in Shadow Square. What are you looking for?
Well, I can keep this super simple. It's just two. First of all, I'd probably be staring at elves. I think I'd be pretty fascinated by elves and kind of unable to hide it. But outside of that,
Well, I will say that there is an elf in the very center of the square who has a broy stall. A very tall, like 6.5 foot tall elf with blonde hair and dark eyes. Tight leather from head to toe. Just imagine a blonde Trent Reznor. 6.5 feet tall. With elf ears and just a slightly more elfish feature to his face, than Trent Reznor. Yeah, even though Trent Reznor is
still Trent
already
Reznor.
elfish. Yeah. But otherwise, there are lots of other elves because what you come to realize is that you are, in fact, not very far away from not only the elf quarter, but the bard's quarter of the city. And so you can see as they are inside the Midnight Sands, you can see that as we're getting closer and closer to high sun, more and more people are filtering into Shadow Square. More people are setting
but Shadow Square on this map, it's 21, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'd be pretty fascinated by looking at the elves, but then I'd also I'm just in general trying to see, blind turns, ambush places, bottlenecks, perspective. What do you call it? Like, what can I see from this location? What can I see from this location? Just sort of like to get enough familiarity so I could maybe have like a bonus roll.
You're just trying to get a general lay of the land.
Precisely. But
so just
from an ambusher's perspective.
Okay, so give me a investigation check on that.
Oh, look at that, would you? It's a solid 9.
Oh.
Perfect.
The problem with Shadow Square is that it's pretty ubiquitous all the way around. For the most part, all of the buildings are 2 stories. There's a few 3-story buildings. The largest structure, the largest establishment on the square would be the Red Kank, which is situated at the northwest corner of the square. And there's an alleyway that kind of zigzags out past that up to the northwest. And you kind of follow that back just a ways, and where the map says 28, you see that that actually turns out to be a gambling house. You ask around, find out it's called the Fortune Oasis. So you know that that's back there. You know that there's a lot of guards that way. So you know that that's probably not a great egress because of how heavily guarded it is on both sides of the street, either from the Fortune Oasis or the guards posted up outside the Red Kank. But there is an alleyway that leads directly north out of Shadow Square on the east side of the Red Kank. It's a fairly narrow alley, and it doesn't seem to be particularly guarded too well. And then on the south west corner, there is a pretty wide thoroughfare that leads out of the square where a lot of people come and go. And so that is also probably a fairly decent place in terms of blending in with the crowd. On the east side, of course, is the ziggurat, which looms over the entire square. And there are, small structures just kind of like built actually into the side of the ziggurat itself. Obviously using the ziggurat as one of their walls. And then beyond that, like, God, this square is pretty chaotic. Getting a really good lay of the land is constantly shifting in terms of the crowd. Comes and goes, will open up, close up, move, shift. So you get a sense that, like, if you're really looking for like a place to hide or a way to leave, the crowd is your friend.
But if we're gonna jump someone, or the crowd, or all
that also might
witnesses.
be, the crowd could be witnesses. But at the same time, you also get a pretty good, with a 9, I don't know, it's kind of hard to read the crowd, like in terms of like how invested they are with what's going on around them, how observant they tend to be.
Okay. That's pretty much all I wanted to do, was crack at that.
All right. So you guys inside the Midnight Sands can make your way back out into the increasingly burning sun. It's about 120 degrees right now. As you're approaching high sun, you know that in the next hour or so, it's probably going to rise to about 140, 145 at least. We're getting closer and closer to high sun, which is the longest days of the year, when the sun itself burns at its most intense. And already it's oppressively hot. As you exit out of the Midnight Sands, you can look out across Shadow Square and you can see the waving mirage of the heat radiating off of the ground, off of bodies. You can feel the pins and needles as the moisture evaporates so quickly off of your skin. If you've ever been to Las Vegas in the middle of this summer, that's kind of what it feels like right now. But just imagine that in another hour and a half, it's going to be another like 25 degrees hotter. So obviously, you're all Athasians, so you have a certain evolutionary resistance to the heat, opposed to us weak little, earthlings. So as you make your way out into Shadow Square, you do notice that in the center of the square, there is a group of probably about a dozen members of the Verdant Revival. They're very easy to spot. They're all cleanly shaven from head to toe, not a scrap of hair on them. And they wear the burlap green halter top and the burlap indigo blue sash around their waist.
Okay.
As you approach,
Aaron,
hold on,
sorry. Just FYI, Ma'ak is on the hunt for one of those halters and sashes. He would like to acquire one somehow. If he sees one he can steal without anyone noticing, he might do that. If he can sees one he can purchase or trade for, he'll do that. I don't want to really play it out, but he wants to try to get one of them.
Oh, okay. I mean, like you get a sense that might be difficult. I mean, you don't see any vendors selling anything like that. And when you approach the dozen or so individuals, you can see that they're all embracing each other. And then right in the middle of the square, they start to undress and change clothes with each other.
Yeah, I had considered that. They wouldn't be able to wear Ma'ak's harness, but if I had, or maybe Geza could trade for one. I don't know.
Yeah, what race are they?
Are they mostly
they all
human?
vary.
Or are they
I mean, you
varied?
see human, half elf, mole, dwarf. The only ones that you don't really notice, the only race you don't really notice are Thrycreen and elf.
If you suggest to Geza, why don't you suggest to Geza? Are you doing that?
I would. Through Metaconcert, I would say, Clutchmates, if we can, it might be wise to acquire one or more disguises to blend with the Verdant Revival.
I think I would have trouble blending in general.
Yes, as would I. But
Specifically, the problem with this is I think they would welcome me. They would know who I am, but they would not welcome the gesture if I were still carrying all of my other stuff, because it's a symbolic act of a lack of ownership of any physical item. And I'm not about to get rid of my weapons.
no, quite the opposite, nor I. Well, let's just be on the lookout then for some cloth that might pass for it.
Okay.
Or we could hold your weapons for you for a moment.
I'm not prone to deception.
Fair enough.
I, however, have learned camouflage my whole life.
No, I'm a person. For real, like, see my ears? Like off of another person?
Look at my
I'm a
very
human.
human
Human,
skin.
human.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it's super not important, Aaron. It's just one of those, like, if we could get some disguise, if we could somehow disguise ourselves as one, so it'd be something to do.
Okay. I mean, as you approach, you kind of get a sense that might be a pretty long shot. And also, as you approach Geza, you recognize Arup in the group. And she looks around and she spots you. And when she does, she waves and smiles and comes over and kind of goes through the same ritual she did before at the Golden Inex last night. Asks if she can embrace you, says you're loved, and then welcomes you, to the sermon. She's so glad. I'm so glad that you came to see.
Of course. I'm excited to see Micah's sermon and hear for myself the great works they intend.
Oh no, Micah is not doing the sermon today. It is Sapphire who will be conducting the sermon.
Oh, isn't it supposed to be Micah? Was there a change?
So no, and I made sure I listened back through this. So she never said specifically that Micah was the one who was going to be conducting the sermon. Just said that the sermon was going to be happening. But she says, like, oh no, I'm sorry if there was any mistake. But Micah is not yet risen to the level of proselytizer. So Sapphire is one of the she's not yet a master, but one of the higher ranking individuals who conducts the sermons here in Shadow Square. Micah does sermons in Odium Square and the Circuit currently. Shadow Square is an area that the Verdant Revival has identified as being particularly vulnerable. And so they put their highest ranking monks in charge of conducting the sermons here and doing the good work. So I'm sorry if there was any confusion.
Oh no, I'm sure I misunderstood. But Sapphire is one of the highest ranking. You're saying?
She's one of the higher rankings, and I know I shouldn't be saying she. I think I told you last night that the Verdant Revival denies labels. So if you, I would like to introduce you to Micah. We refer to each other as Sib. It will be Sib Micah when you meet Micah. And Micah is a mole. Micah was a former gladiator who became a member of the Verdant Revival when they were freed, thankfully. And she takes you over to Micah, and you can see like they're actually like kind of setting things up. They're setting up a stand where the individual Sapphire is going to be speaking from. And Arup takes you over to Micah and introduces you and says, Sib, Micah, I would like you to meet my beautiful friend, Geza. And Micah comes in and does the same thing, asks you, may I embrace you? And
of course.
And does the same thing. You are loved. And she says, or they say to you, I'm so glad that you were able to come and witness the good work that we're attempting to do. You are beautiful. Arup tells me you are an exarch.
It's true.
We have much need for exarchs as advocates within the order. There's so much healing that needs to happen within Tyr and throughout Athos. And as monks, we are unable to do that ourselves outside of providing food, comfort, and water, and the shelter that our advocates can provide. But we do not possess the abilities that the exarchs like yourself have. Please, I do not want to pressure you into anything, of course. So listen to our sermon, and I hope that it speaks to you.
I'm certainly very curious to see what you're all about, and it all sounds good so far.
Okay. Anything else anybody else wants to do during this time?
Can I lay eyes on Laj Abish or otherwise make contact? I have enough space.
I'm sorry. I got to point out Mark's pun. You dork. You fucking dork.
Yeah.
Why did Sapphire buy countertops? For Micah.
That's why we have Mark. It's just for those good jokes.
Yeah, you folks missed the one before, the Spice Girls one.
Oh, wait, what does it say? Where did Mark tell, like we need your voice here. We need your voice.
Oh, for my my early joke?
Yes.
Definitely.
Well, my first joke was I posted a video to the only Crystal Waters, who is a musician of my people. And then my joke was,
It's a good jam.
Where did the Spice Girls pray in ancient times? The Zigga Zigga Ziggurat.
Oh my god.
Very punny. Very punny.
Holy shit.
Maybe I can change
Wow.
Chard to being a stand-up comedian.
I think that could absolutely be a part of his character. Why not?
Wait, does Char look like Rodney Dangerfield?
Just kind of bug eyes. Yeah.
Can't get no respect.
Okay, so what was Mock doing?
I forget.
Yeah. Okay, so
I was looking to see.
I was looking for Laj Abish. Sorry.
Or to see.
okay,
if-
Laj
Or if I can
Abish.
otherwise make meta
I'm
concert.
so sorry.
One more, Laja Biche, and then you die.
Oh.
Beach and
I was supposed to see.
Life's
I was
a
supposed to go
bitch
see
and then you
Laja
die.
Beach when I was facing the square. When I was looking around in the square, and I totally forgot.
It's true.
What a bad friend I am. I think
It's
I would
alright.
have done it if
It's
I
what I'm
actually
here
spent
for.
like the 45 minutes wandering around, wondering what the hell I was actually doing. Then I would have gone, oh, I'm supposed to contact Laja Beach.
Yeah,
But I was
Aaron,
trying
just
to
so
be-
you know, I have enough to connect 8 people, so there's room for Lodge and everyone else. So I could just be like, "Hey,
you
Lodge,
get
are you there?"
She
You know,
says,
if-
and what's the range on that again?
Well, I mean, it depends if she's a clutch mate. If she's a clutch mate, it's probably infinite. Otherwise, I might need to put eyes on her, or otherwise be 120 feet to establish mind link for the first.
Okay,
the
so
first
like
go.
I would
figured,
say that like
I figured it was too early to declare that she was a clutch mate, especially because our first meeting,
tried to
she
kill her?
tried to kill my clutch leader, and I tried to throw her out a window. So we have some healing to do.
She
Right?
did declare that we were her patrons.
Well, that's true, though. So like
Yeah,
we're
as
building
a-
that bridge for sure. So I just didn't want to be like Aaron. I could just contact her if she's supposed to be here anyway. I figured I could just see her, and then boom, we'd connect.
And I would just like to clarify too for like anybody who listens now, who's listening now or in the future, they never got in second edition Dark Sun. The closest they ever got to a halfling handbook was the Wind Riders of the Jagged Cliffs. So there's really no there's no dwarf handbook. There's no halfling handbook. I think that's it in terms of the major races.
Half
So
giants
it
don't
is.
get their own.
What's that?
Half giants didn't get their own, did they?
Oh yeah, right. Half giants don't get theirs either.
Or moles for that instance. It was pretty
And
much just
moles
elves.
didn't. Yeah,
Elves
and
with fire
moles
green.
don't. Yeah. So they never got to the point where they released any of those. There's elves. There's Thrycreen. I think that's it.
The rest was like Dune Traders and stuff like that.
Yeah, Dune Traders. It was all kind of like world stuff. So the point I'm trying to make here is that that is my headcanon. Like in that the idea that halflings will basically trade patrons based on who is dominant. Like if somebody destroys their patron, then that person who destroyed their patron becomes their patron, is all part of like the kind of tribal cultural system of the halflings, which is part of what I have created. So it's not part of the traditional canon, just FYI. The same way that I'm changing so many other things because I'm trying to make, like I said, I'm trying to make this, our own, my own kind of place. So just a little FYI. So having said that, you reach out to Laja Biche, and unfortunately, no, you don't get a response from her.
All right. So what about if we go to the rat's nest? Is she actually there?
So you can kind of duck away as they're talking and go over to the rat's nest and enter into, and just to give you a quick kind of overview, it's a complete fucking dive. Obviously, the choice of the city's less discriminating drinkers. And everybody in here is probably already 3 sheets to the wind.
Right.
And you realize right away it's got the cheapest ale and wine in town, and just the smell alone, your heightened Thrycreen senses, you know it. But having said that, as you go through this hovel, this disgusting dive, no, you don't see Lodge.
Damn it.
Now, outside, the sermon begins. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Crowcus.
Yes, that's in character.
I kind of imagine Crowcus probably followed you to the rat's nest and probably drank a few cups of a few pony kegs of broy while he was there.
Yes, I'm here to be a background character at the moment, so yes, I would have drank and burped.
Yeah, well, it's fine. Mark wasn't looking to spend money, so there's if that's an excuse for him to be there, at least to poke his head around. Crowcus, try not to get too poisoned, but we do need to keep an eye out to see if Lodge comes back.
No, this is just to keep me loose before the fight.
And how are you feeling? How is your illness?
I believe it's mostly worked its way out.
Well, I mean, like, you still have like this sore spot in the nape of your, and like the base of your spine, and you still have like loose bowels, but it's not really affecting you too badly at this point. Like, you don't have like you don't have that nausea and those like cold sweats that you were experiencing outside. Now here's the thing, like, you bring this up and Crowcus does it like, it still hurts. And you look back there's a big fucking black pustule on the base of his spine.
That's not right?
It's like about a half an inch in diameter.
That's tiny. That's a dot.
That's a buboes.
Have you shown that to Geza?
My freckle?
I do not think it is a freckle. I think you are. I don't. We have a word, right? We get diseased. Hold on. There's a word for the disease of the chitin, whatever. That's what Ma'ak calls it.
Oh, chitin rot.
Yeah. So.
That's no freckle. That's chitin rot.
Yeah, he would call it chitin rot. That's how it would translate.
Well, here, you find that, and I'm going to go back outside because this sermon is getting started, and you can see people like starting to gather around and kind of gawk at the Verdant revival. And Sapphire gets up, and you can see Sapphire is a human male. Well, from an outward perspective, appears to be a human male. And starts to say, "Come, friends, come, gather close so you can hear the wonderful news we have to tell. A new age is coming." And people start to kind of mull around and listen. And some people are like, it's that. They're like muttering to each other, "It's that group, that Verdant, whatever the fuck." Sapphire continues, "The tyranny of the dragon is ending. The forests of the ringing mountain will sweep across the tablelands like an endless army. There will be food enough and water for all." And then like there's like a bunch of like laughs that come from the crowd. "Yes, it's true," Sapphire says, directing it directly to the people who are laughing. "It's true. You laugh now. But water shall stream through Athos like great rivers of lava. And the sea of silt will overflow and turn blue. Even the alluvial wastes shall become like the gardens of the Golden Tower." And Sapphire points back over their shoulder towards the Golden Tower that rises high from the walled off section of the city that's just for the Templar and King Kalec. "Delicacies unknown will grow in such abundance that none shall ever go hungry again." At this point, like a dozen or so people in the crowd kind of throw their hands up dismissively and start to wander off. And then Sapphire kind of points out into the crowd at the individuals leaving and says, We do not judge you harshly, friends. Even you who turn your backs are loved. You have been treated like mongrel Bazrogs your whole lives. At this point, some of the people who are wandering off kind of pause and stand and look back. You rage with the same anger of the dark sun. But no, the anger of the sun will be quelled, and all the land will be caressed by cool winds. At this point, the sermon kind of continues, kind of similar themes. So I'll jump back to the rat's nest. Did you figure out what you were looking for, Rob?
I found the name of that disease you gave me. It was Zajiz Dre, the molting death, which is basically chitin rot. So that's what he'd call it. You have chitin rot. Your skin is punctured and is diseased. You need a healer. So we're already here, right? So did only Craucus follow me as I sort of
just Craucus? The rest of them are out by the rest are out observing the sermon.
Okay. Well, Craucus, if you don't mind, why don't you stay here just for another drink or two? Keep an eye out, see if Lodge shows up, and stay in meta concert, and let us know if you see anything unusual.
Okay, stay and drink. I can do that.
I assume Geza is up, listening to the crowd? Where is everybody else?
I would assume all kind of nearby.
Okay, so we can all kind of see each other across the square and stuff, right? It's not
there's a big crowd. Like at this point, it's like midday, and so the crowd is thickened. So you kind of catch glimpses of them as you come out. Now, as you do come out, that very tall elf that Desi noticed before, who runs the broy stand in the middle, walks past you, Maak, and kind of looks in your direction, pauses, and says, "Thrycreen, friend, you seem like you haven't had a good drink in perhaps a week or more. Perhaps you'd like to come try my wares. First drink is on me."
Can I make insight? Why would he offer me a free drink? That seems very un-elf-like. Sorry to be racist.
Yeah, give me that insight check.
It's a 12, but
12.
I'm a Thrycreen, so.
Yeah, you're not sure why this elf would walk up to you and offer you a free cup of broy.
I will I'll not drink broy.
Oh, I think you'll drink. I think you'll drink this broy, Maak.
I will switch to mind link, just with him, and say, "You know me?"
He says back to you, with verbal language, and says, "Don't do that. Not here."
I'll thirsty after all. And I will follow him.
Okay, so he leads you over to his stall in the center of the square. It's maybe about 50 yards, or not 50 yards. It's pretty close to where the sermon's happening, but on the opposite side of the well.
Okay.
Takes you to the stall, and once you get there, he says to you, "You were supposed to come alone."
They are alone. They're watching Verdant Carl. Very busy.
Yes, but they're here in Shadow Square.
Then
Unfortunately, there's not much I can do for you now.
Do what can. And fast.
While we stood here and talked, I was supposed to be telling you to flee the city today, while I would be impersonating you in the psych.
And quick pause. The psych is a term used by a lot of psionicists, not Thrycreen, who don't believe in this idea particularly.
Okay.
But a lot of psionicists believe that the psych or the psychoverse is a shared universe that exists just outside the bounds of our world, and it exists in this mental space that is shared.
I think Ma'ak might be more open to that idea given some of his experiences. But
so at any rate, he says to finish that sentence, he says, while I would be impersonating you in the psych, making the defilers that currently surround Shadow Square believe you were agreeing to their terms.
Well, I will make a gesture.
And he says, lest you misunderstand me, I am not Bap, or the one you know is Shazar. I am his intermediary. He hears what I am saying, but cannot communicate back. That's how this works. That's how we can make sure that they don't hear us.
Why are you helping me then?
Because he has paid me quite well, and because we have a long history together, and I owe him one.
Then how can I help?
Well, there's not much that you can do now. Because what was supposed to happen is that you were supposed to pretend to agree to their terms.
Which were what?
Well, simply, you return back here before sundown with the orb and drop it in that well right there. They have agents down there waiting for it. In return, they agree not to unleash fire and death upon the innocent people and yourself throughout this square today. And as assurance, they have defilers right now posted near the Golden Onyx, ready to activate the orb because evidently they know exactly what it does now. I don't know what this is. Bap didn't tell me. He just told me to say these words. Evidently, you are in possession of some kind of orb that they can activate, magnifying whatever tragedy they're attempting to unleash upon Tyr. And here's the thing. I know that the half-giant that travels with you guards that orb with his fucking life and wouldn't let it out of his sight for 2 seconds. And now they know that it's here in Shadow Square right now. So this is all that I can offer you now, is a drink of this gourd, and you better drink it. And he takes it, he uncorks it, and takes a swig. He says, you fucked me, you fucked yourself, you fucked this entire thing. So you need to drink this right now, and you need to get the rest of your fucking friends to drink it as well, as fast as you can, because as far as I know, they're about to contact you.
What's in it?
It is a potion that will protect you against elements.
I will drink it, and I will immediately leave and find Desi.
Okay, you take the gourd?
I do. Unless he stops me, I take it.
No, and he starts to pack his shit up and try to get the fuck out as you drink it. He tells you, but before you leave, he tells you, Bap wanted me to let you know this. He was trying to save your life. He owes you a debt. He owes you a debt, but he's beholden to powers far greater than yourself. And this is the best he could come up with.
If you
wanted you
live
to
through
leave the
this,
city.
thank him. And
Okay,
I will
so
leave.
okay, so you head out now. Real quick, going back to the sermon. You guys keep listening, and it kind of continues on in that same route. The one thing that does kind of catch your interest at the very end is this point where Sapphire says, the great source of life will be reborn, and when it does, those of the revival will be there to usher in the new verdant age. And then Sapphire steps down, and they start to distribute food and water amongst the crowd. Back to Marc. You meet up with Desi.
Okay. In the meantime, I'm still in meta concert with everyone, but I will send a message just to Crowcus. I'll say,
Good.
Crowcus, feign stomach distress, find the nearest outhouse, and hide that orb. And then leave that establishment as quickly as you can. And I will try to find Desi.
Okay, you find Desi.
Oh no, my butt! I must go shit my whole body apart now.
You stand up and hit your head against the ceiling of the rat's nest.
Oh fuck!
Can I find Desi?
Yeah, you find Desi.
All right. Ma'ak desperately thrusts this gourd in your hands, and through meta concert says, "Do not argue, drink it."
I will always do a quick check for poison before I drink anything that is shoved
I think
in
that's
my
fair.
hand.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, go ahead and give me that med check.
What is that? Say again?
Medicine.
It's medicine,
Huh.
which you should be.
Proficient.
You should have that proficiency.
Jesus Christ. 13.
13. Yeah, I mean it has an odd smell to it, but it doesn't hit any of the standard poison notes. You know, like almond. You know, those kind of notes.
A doppelganger.
All right, so I'll
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'll take a sip and say, "Where'd you get this?"
A doppelganger friend of Bap gave it to me. He says it will protect us from the elements. He says it will protect
Now,
those who
was
drink
he-
of it from the elements.
Wait.
Were you in meta concert sharing what was happening with that fella
No,
while it was happening?
no.
Oh,
I didn't want to potentially
Okay,
endanger you in case they were reading my mind.
okay. So I'll say, what is going on?
The defilers are here, the Mermillions. They plan to slaughter everyone in the square. That liquid will protect us from their fire. Drink it and pass it around to the clutch as quickly as you can. I will try to draw them away. I'm sorry. I think I've doomed us all. And Ma'ak leaves.
Oh, well, I will yell, if we are still in meta concert, I will
We are.
say, "Can we walk and talk?" And you will tell me what happened?
Ma'ak will share as quickly as he can the highlights of the memories of the last minute or two.
With everyone?
With everyone.
I will.
No, shit. No, because that'll cause a panic. He shares it with Desi. They know we're here. They're probably going to target me first. I'm going to try to draw them away. And make them think that I have the orb.
Can I just be clear that the reason they're attacking is because we didn't agree to their terms?
Well,
I think it's too late. I think they're gonna murder us all and everyone around us.
Well, as you're talking to Desi, a voice comes into your mind, Ma'ak, And it says to you, Marc, you do not know us, but we know you. We know your clutch as well. You need to stop where you are. Do not take one more step.
I freeze.
Our agents have been watching since our little altercation yesterday. We know from the one you knew as Bap that the orb is in the possession of the half-giant, and he never lets it go. We are giving you 1 minute to drop the orb in the well. If you attempt to flee,
moving towards the well.
Okay. If you attempt to flee or attempt any subterfuge whatsoever, we will unleash unholy hell upon the people of this square. And we know from Bap, we took it out of him, what that orb can do. We know how it amplifies our magic. Everyone in this square will die, and it will be on your head. Take that orb, drop it down the well. We have agents waiting there to receive it. Once we have word from them that it is indeed the orb, no one will be harmed, and you may go about your business. And we will even tell you where to find Catandeo. Let him tell you what he knows of it. Let us keep the orb safe. You don't know what power you hold. You have no notion. And every day you walk the streets with that thing, unprotected, you walk with a bomb ready to go off and kill untold numbers of people. Only we can keep it safe and make sure that it is used the way that it was meant to be used.
How could you know how it was meant to be used?
That is not for you to know, but for us to uncover.
So you don't know? Curious.
We know that it can be kept within interdimensional spaces and be held safe that way. And we have the ability to do that. You do not.
Bap had a smuggler's pouch that I intended to claim and put the orb within.
Well, now we have the smuggler's pouch, and we will use it. This is not a negotiation, Marc.
I know.
Your 1 minute has already begun.
That's why I am I'm continuing to head towards the well as if I have the orb.
Okay.
I hope Crocus has managed to hide it, but we'll see what happens. And I hope that this buys my clutchmates time to drink whatever's in that potion.
All right.
I want to run up to Geza and give him the gourd or whatever it is. Tell him to drink and say, when you had a meeting with this lady earlier, did she give you any way to perhaps get under the city and get to the passages that lead to the well?
She was not very helpful. Certainly nothing that I know on the spot. And you want me to drink this gourd? I smell it. I smell it, and I do a medicine check of my own.
Okay, give it to me.
A 9.
No, you can't. You can't tell. It has like a sour sweet smell to it.
I'll say it is not poison. That's all I can tell you.
I was about to say I assume it's a festival drink, and I was going to drink it, but now she said it's not poisoned. I just cocked my head sideways, and I took a drink.
just for your edification, when you drink the potion, it gives you this like tingly sensation that runs through your body, and you feel like the hairs on your skin all stand on end, and the heat of the noonday sun suddenly disappears, and it's as if you're standing like right in the cool air after sunset, right before it starts to turn frigid cold.
So I shake like an animal does sometimes, starting from my head down to my tail feathers. And then I, with no explanation, I thrust it into Char's chest and I say, "You gotta try this." Char, do you accept my beverage offering?
Okay, so you make your way towards the well, and the voice comes back into your head and says, "Where is the half giant? We know he is the one who keeps the orb."
He gave it to me earlier. I tricked him out of it. It was quite easy. I'm bringing it to your men now. Leave my clutch alone.
Give me a deception check.
Yeah, that's fair.
What's your question, Mark?
My question is, can Mock make them think something is an orb that isn't? Like, can I make one of those fireballs and we drop it down there and they think it's an orb and take it back as a distraction and make it explode?
I mean, I don't know. Like, this is all inside. You guys got to figure this out. I don't know.
No, Ma'ak feels like he's screwed. Like, we're screwed. He's just trying to buy your lives, buy your time.
But also, Ma'ak is the only one who has this information. So
yeah, I'm not. I feel like if I tell you, it's going to get you killed. So I'm going to see if I can get away with this, but probably not. So
a voice comes into your, well, God, see, Bap doesn't have Metaconcert. He can't reach out to you. So never mind.
Can I get to the well?
Yeah, you can get to the well.
Does it look like I could fit if I jumped down it?
The well's like 5 feet in diameter.
Okay, so I could squeeze. Or I could actually probably just climb down it, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have one of my arms like tucked, like I'm carrying something heavy. Do my best to fake that. But I know I have a pouch or something with like something in it that might be, but whatever. It's not going to stand up to close scrutiny.
Yeah. And the voice comes back into your head and says, "Okay. Move very slowly. Take the orb from wherever you have it hidden on your person and drop it down the well. Do not make any fast movements. The moment we suspect any subterfuge, we will begin to cast. And there are a dozen of us stationed throughout the boundaries of Shadow Square."
Common is difficult for me. Would you Metaconcert with me?
They are, but it's a direct connection. So he says, "Fine."
Sorry, you said something before about your people doing something. What? Are you threatening me? I don't understand. And I'm trying to get him to picture whether he means to or not, whereas people actually are.
Oh. Give me a deception check.
Thanks. Of course, I roll for shit. Deception is not my forte. An 11?
Oh, God.
It's not my best, but...
Yeah, no. It seems like it's going to be a hard to get one over.
Yeah,
on this,
all right. That's fine.
individual.
I will hold... I will hold the bag out. I know it's got stuff in it. I'm not sure what treasures Mount is actually carrying, but he definitely has a bag of money. Let's just say he pulls out that bag of money, right?
Okay.
He is holding it in his hand like it's heavy. I drop this. You let us go?
You will drop it once we have confirmation the orb is in the bag. Then you may leave.
All right. I will let go of it, and it will float. I'll just be using far hand, right?
Okay.
And I will gently lower it down.
Okay.
Until it is out of the sight of anyone who could be on the lips of any of the buildings, whatever, right? I'm going to basically, 30 feet should probably do the trick, right? And then I'm basically just going to get it hooked on something down there, either in the bucket or on a post or I don't know, something. I'm sure I can get it hung up, right?
Okay.
So
yeah,
I don't know if you need me to roll something for that, but I assume
no, because I mean you can guide it down, and you can look down, and you can see deep enough into the well, especially since it's high noon, that you can kind of see some like an area where you could get it hooked and snagged.
Okay. Can I see down there? What's down there? Can I see people?
The well is pretty deep. Give me a perception check.
Okay, well, actually, I'll happily give you a perception check, but I actually have where is it? Sorry. Dislocate vision. I shift my field of vision to one that originates at any point I can see within range. The point moves no, I'd have to move relative. I'd have to drop either way. All right, it doesn't matter. Never mind. Sorry, I'll just roll perception.
Okay.
And that is a 4. A mighty 4.
Man.
I don't see shit.
No, you can't. You can't. You definitely can't see to the bottom of the well.
Okay.
And
I've dropped it. Your men should have it by now.
Well, then do not move until they have confirmed receipt.
Can I hear anything down there?
Give me a perception check.
Has Crocus come out of the
where? Okay,
bar?
let's do that. Let's go over to Crocus. Crocus,
Yeah.
what did you?
Because Crocus is the last one who needs a drink. So
I was going in and hiding the orb.
Where are we going to hide it?
In the outhouse, I suppose, right?
I didn't give you anything specific.
Yeah,
I was told I needed to go shit in the outhouse, and that I needed to hide the orb, so I'm hiding it in the outhouse.
Hiding it like in the shit, like the kid in Schindler's List, or hiding it behind the toilet or something?
We'll see.
Well, we would need a description of the outhouse in order to determine that.
I'm hiding it in the outhouse. Let's go from there. What do I roll?
Let's see. Okay, so the rat's nest. Let's see, where is it?
Yeah, what kind of toilets and amenities does the rat's nest have?
Hold on.
Not good ones if it's named the rat's nest, I'm assuming.
Can I use?
It's like the toilet from Train Spotting.
Okay, I have an idea. Can I use my strength to tear up some of the floorboards and hide it underneath the floorboards where it's not falling into the actual pit?
Oh, you're touching the floor?
Yeah, you could. Well, you could actually the floor is flagstone.
Okay.
Just loose flagstone. So you could pull a flagstone up and dig out a space to put the orb and then cover it.
The flagstone.
Okay. So
yeah,
would I roll an athletics to do that?
No, I mean you're a half giant. You can fucking do that.
Okay, so I pick up like the largest flagstone, the one that would look like the hardest to.
We lost Emily.
So the orb is the size of an eyeball, right?
No, the orb is about 3 inches in
right?
diameter. Yeah, it's like a grapefruit size.
So he couldn't Christopher Walken watch it.
Oh.
He?
He is a half giant.
I mean, he is a half giant.
It's going to be tiny for him.
He could.
Would that infect him with evil if he shoves it up his butt?
I mean, it wouldn't. We don't fucking know.
Okay, what would I roll to think of that? Because Joseph wouldn't think of that. Kraukus
That
might.
would be an insight
Oh,
check.
don't lie, Joseph. You would
Yeah,
think
I don't know,
about
man.
I think maybe
I
an
rolled
insight
a
check.
-1.
that. You've journaled.
Okay, yeah.
So let's be real.
Now, I wonder if a -1 means that's what you would think of doing.
Right.
Hey,
Yeah.
I rolled a -1. That's up to you. That's specifically for up the butt.
I kind of
either-
feel like you go it well, and see, this makes even more sense because now I'm thinking of it's the rat's nest. Like there wouldn't be flagstones on the floor; it'd just be like packed dirt.
Mud.
It
Yeah.
would be
Yeah,
shit
just
and
be
piss.
mud. Yeah, it'd be shit and piss, and it's like a disgusting, and it wouldn't even be like a place where you could go sit down where there's like a hole in a wooden plank. It would just be a pit in the ground.
Yeah, a hole.
Where
in
they
the
would then
dirt.
have like a gong farmer come and like just scoop it up, like when it overflows. So I
think you
imagine
should
with that
insert it.
-1, yeah, I think it makes sense. Like rule of cool. Let's do real cool. You roll that -1. I just imagine this scene where you walk in to the toilet and you see this mound of shit and piss that's like overflowing onto the ground itself already.
Okay.
And you're holding the orb in your hand, and you look around. You're like,
Just breathe.
Oh.
Just breathe.
and up it goes.
Okay.
And then I go, oh, that was a really good shit. And then I come out and
I guess
It's going to be a fun game of hot potato. when
I
he shoots
find
that out.
Geza offering a drink.
Yeah, I hold it out to Char. Char drinks. Char, what do you do after you drink?
Swallow.
Up the butt and swallow.
Well, I hand the gourd off to Char. I say, you got to try this. And then, Desi, why are you asking about the well and the tunnels? What's happening?
I think Desi fell down the well. Is she back yet?
No, Desi's here. Desi's back.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I had my scroll.
Yeah.
I will say, I think we are about to be attacked by, what do they call the spoilers? The destructors,
Yeah.
Defilers?
the what?
Defilers.
Defilers. I want to approach a verdant revivalist, probably someone who's just listening on the fringes, and say, "Can you fight? Do verdant revivalists fight?" Probably an
We-
elf, because I would probably go to an elf.
You go up to one of the individuals and they say, "We fight only as a last resort. We are representatives of peace and love."
I appreciate that. I need to let you know, and please tell everyone in your group, I believe we are about to be attacked by defilers, probably with fire.
What?
Yeah. What?
I want to sidebar this conversation, taking the gourd from Char, making sure Kraukus gets it, and then I want to see if Arup is around so I can feed it to her as well.
Okay.
And did you say
There's-
defilers are going to attack with fire? Desi?
Uh-huh.
If they attack with fire, I can manipulate stuff like that, right?
Oh, I am fully anticipating
not-
that you are going to be a part of this.
Not magical,
Oncoming
not magical fire. You can manipulate mundane fire at your level, I believe.
But if you have a spell that says you can do it, tell us about that.
Unless
spell.
you have a spell, but in terms of your innate exarch abilities, I believe that it would just be innate stuff.
I have an absorb elements spell. Can't I?
What does it say in a description?
One R self, 1d6.
No. Click it, and then on the right, it'll have a long text about it.
The spell captures incoming energy, lessening its attack effect on you and storing it within you. You have resistance to triggering damage until you start your next turn. Also, the first time you hit with a melee attack in your next turn, the target takes an extra 1d6 of damage.
So it
So I
sounds like
got-
you could lessen personal attacks, but maybe not like environment, like not an area effect.
Well, would it be completely suicidal for me to like go after the main guy that's talking to Marc?
We don't even
attack
know.
him?
Yeah,
We don't even know where he is.
yet. I'm trying to
Oh.
find out where he is.
But yeah, I'd like to.
We're
tell
still
all the
in meta concert,
Why
but
can't- and why
Ma'ak's been
can't
busy.
why can't Geza, why can't, if they shoot out a fire, why can't you use your wind powers to blow the fire back right at them? Like to do a backdraft thing on them.
Yeah, I mean,
And if they use
it doesn't
fire,
really work
if they
that
use
way.
magic fire, they're gonna, if they use magic fire, they're going to catch physical stuff on fire with real fire, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I'll have some abilities there as well.
Redirecting a fire attack possibly with a thunder wave might have a limited ability, but not from 12 points of execution. Like in
Well,
meta,
if we can
in meta
figure out
talk.
where they are, can't some of us spread out and try and take out some of them?
We don't know where
individually?
they are.
Yeah, I mean, once they start attacking, we'll have a better idea, but it'll be too late to do anything preventative.
I want to enlist the verdant revivalists to prepare for an attack.
They're very confused by what you're saying to them, and
Well, of course.
the person you're talking
I imagine
to,
they'll get it when the attack starts.
yeah, and a voice comes into your head, Ma'ak, and says, "Where's the bag? It has not reached our representatives."
I already dropped it moments ago. It should. Maybe your buffoons can't find it in the dark. But Aaron, at this point, I will now activate Read Thoughts, which, as long as he is within 500 feet of where I am, which is still a big gamble, but chances are he might be that close. In theory, that's all I need because we're telepathically communicating.
Is there a save against that?
There is if I go deeper, but I can hear his
deeper
surface thoughts
than-
without him knowing.
Oh,
So
okay.
right now, I
surface
just want to
thoughts.
see if I can make contact and get his surface thoughts.
Okay, so surface thoughts are, I think he's trying something. They haven't received the bag. We know he's a psionicist. He must be doing something to manipulate the situation. Fine. We'll give him one more moment, but then be prepared to start casting. And don't just cast Fireball. Use Firestorm as well as Wind Wall, everything you have. We know that the...
Sorry, go ahead. But
He keeps talking. Like he's talking. He's obviously talking to like his second in command.
all of this is
and-
now
and
being
he's-
shared with my clutch.
Yeah.
They heard all
and,
of it.
and he says, we know from Shazar that this will cause them to fall unconscious. If push comes to shove, we'll kill everyone and we'll find the orb after they're all dead.
Is there a way, with Marc reading these thoughts, does he know where the other guys are? There's no sort of like figuring out where they are.
No, there might be an ability, but if there is, I don't have it. I can't
Do you know
find
where-
them.
Do you know where this main guy is?
Okay, the only thing I might be able to do is if they are also doppelgangers, they might show up as a different type of creature to my life detection, right?
Does
'Cause
that-
it says scanning detects humans, demi-humans, humanoids, mammals, and monsters. So like someone who's not a human or a demi-human might ping differently from me, Aaron, and I might be able to pick them out of the crowd. That's
Are you gonna do
my
that?
next step.
Because if we can find, if we can reliably find out where their leader is,
Mm-hmm.
Kraukus can throw me up on a rooftop, and I can just drop a fucking rock on this guy, knock something off, and crush him from above.
If we can find him, I throw everything you have at him, Char.
I think that's the smartest thing to do. To try, instead of magic, why not use the old-fashioned way and smush him?
Well, I will start searching for him next round.
Because I know my way around the rooftops of the city, so I could probably, if you could find a location, I could probably have a good shot of finding him, and then just knock something off the roof on him. At the very least, it would distract him and break his connection with his other cronies. I would think if a building is collapsing on him, I think it's just a thought. I'm just spitballing here. I don't. It seems like
I don't either. I'll try next round, see if I can find him. I don't know, Aaron, if we're rolling initiative now, if something's about to go down.
I mean, you still have some choices to make, because the voice comes back into your head and says, if we don't have that orb in the next 30 seconds, this is on you.
I will give the Thrycreen equivalent of like a big sigh, right? And I'll scuttle back towards the well, shove aside any people who are in my way, and basically just say, if you insist, and I'll start to climb down the well.
While that's happening, I guess I heard some of this communication, right? Because you shared it, right, Marc? So I know.
I did. Yeah, no, you guys are in on everything I can share.
Okay, so I know I have to drink this canister, otherwise something bad could happen.
Yeah, you know that much.
Okay, so that's my next step, and then it's look for the fight.
Okay, give me just.
Is there such a thing as an Earth Exarch?
Yes.
Yes.
If there was an Earth Exarch present, could they just collapse onto people?
I mean, potentially, if they were high enough level and they were, convinced that was a thing they should do.
Can I ask among the verdant revivalists if there's an Earth Exarch?
Maybe.
You asked this, and they're like, "What is happening? What are you talking about? Why are you asking these questions?"
Because there are defilers around the well, and they are about to come up and attack everyone in the square.
What? Why?
Because
people are thick,
they're defilers. They're defilers.
Okay, so here, give me just a quick second. But the verdant revivalist says, then we must start getting the people out of the square.
Yes, you must get people out of the square, and you must prepare soldiers to fight. Both of these things. Are you trying to do this?
Yeah, and they immediately start to. At which point, over in one corner of the square, you see a column, or suddenly you see a dark cloud form over the southwest corner of the square, and gigantic shards of ice start to rain down upon the crowd, killing dozens and dozens of people. Not only that, you can feel everybody needs to give me a con save. Everybody needs to give me a con save.
Okay.
Marc doesn't, because you're immune to sleep.
12.
15.
15.
22.
Nice.
Where is con save?
This is like a ninja.
Oh, con save. I didn't do con save. I just did a con check, but it's the same bonus, so whatever. Con save is saving throw boxes under your basic ability scores. There's a savings throws box that says strength, dex, con, whiz, cha. For me, it didn't matter, but if constitution, you might have a higher con save than you do con bonus.
What was Crocus's?
12.
12. And Char?
7.
7. Char falls unconscious. Crocus falls unconscious. Desi falls unconscious. Geza and Ma'ak are still awake. You see all around you, people start to fall unconscious.
I want to pause. While Desi's talking with the verdant people, before Crocus falls asleep, I asked him, because I was just waiting for me to be able to speak and not talk over people. I asked Crocus, where is the orb?
Oh,
Can I respond? Is that fair?
Yeah, you can respond. You have time to respond to that.
Yeah, my butt.
I'm starting to say, we need to get it out of here. As this happens, I guess.
Yeah, and then he collapses to the ground.
And then jump on his belly, Geza, and it'll shoot across the city.
Yeah. Now you're outside of the range of the actual the damage of the spell, but you can see all, like Ma'ak and Geza, both of you, because there's plant life growing all through Shadow Square. There's potted plants, there's trees, there's palms. They all shrivel and die everywhere.
Yeah.
And you see all around you throughout like the area of shadow, like basically like you're in the middle of Shadow Square, and like maybe like another 50 feet past you in that arc, probably 60% of the people in Shadow Square just collapse to the ground, writhing in agony. And then everybody starts to scream. And then you hear a voice inside your head, Mox, say, "We're not fucking around."
You didn't even give me a chance to get it. You attacked us. Find
Because-
the orb yourself. And I won't go down the well. Because what's the point now?
Yeah, well, tell your thief, tell your bard not to try anything with the Verdant Revivalists again. Now put the orb down the well.
Is it? Well, I'm sorry. Is it? They just fell asleep, or are people dying right now?
Well, it looks like most of them just fell unconscious. It's hard to tell. I mean, you'd have to inspect them closely.
I'm just trying to get an impression. I think it's
But underneath where the actual like ice storm spell was cast, I mean, like dozens of people are dead over there.
right.
Question: Does this?
Yeah.
Where's the like the equivalent of the police force of this city or the soldiers? Because if this is happening, it's not happening in a vacuum, right?
Templar. I mean, like, yeah, there's some Templars in the square. Most of them have fallen unconscious as well.
But I mean, outside the square, the entire city aren't.
Oh well, it'll probably take a little bit for the hue and cry to go up and have a response team come.
Okay. Did either of the spellcasters who cast that ice storm or the sleep spell, did they reveal themselves? Can Ma'ak remember seeing something unusual from one of the people in the crowd that might have been a spellcaster?
What would be
roll?
the?
I don't know, man.
Well, no, I mean, like, are you trying to? Oh, you're trying to.
It's on. I was cooperating and they killed people anyway. So fuck them. Where are they? I'm killing them.
Give me an investigation check.
Okay. Fuck. A 9.
Yeah, I mean, as
I
far
don't
as you know,
So
they could be,
I got my gift.
I mean, they could be
behind.
They could be behind windows and doorways in the second stories. I mean, you start to like search around, like pan the square, and suddenly you realize like the entire square is surrounded by second story dark windows, and doorways, and
of course,
fuck knows where they could be stationed.
Well,
and
then I start
God knows if they're even down here amongst you.
All right. Well, then I will start to use life detection at its narrowest range.
The verdant revivalists, because how did they know I was talking to one?
Because they're watching us.
Because the verdant revivalists, because you talked to one, and then the verdant revivalists immediately started to rush out and tell people they need to get out of the square.
They said they were watching us from all around the square. Yeah. They had us surrounded. They were watching us, and then they saw you so panicked.
Do we know for a fact there are 12 of these guys, or are they lying to us?
We have no idea.
Yeah, we don't know their numbers. No idea. We don't know their numbers.
All right. So, Aaron, this would be a 30-degree arc at 300 feet. So it's kind of a crapshoot. I like pick that way, and if there's a dude, I should. If he's a doppelganger, he will probably ping as a monster and not a human or a demi-human, and that's going to be my target. Otherwise, I just don't see. I imagine, and I will search again.
Well, the only ping that comes up is the elf that you were talking to
As a monster?
as
Yeah.
a monster.
Because the,
Well, is this round or what?
the Mermillions were agents of the Defilers, but their Defilers are not necessarily all Mermillion.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And this is the point where like suddenly a voice comes into your brain, Ma'ak, and says, Dragon, damn it, Ma'ak, I told you what you have to do. You're gonna let all these people die.
All right. I will,
Who said that?
as hurriedly as I can, make my way back over to the well and start to climb down it as quickly as I can. I'm searching for your orb.
Well,
Don't harm anyone
and
else, please.
And you hear the voice of Bap come or Shazar come back into your head and say like, damn it, Ma, you're gonna get all of these people killed. Is that orb really down there in that bag that you threw down there?
This is Bap.
I've done what I can for you. You've got... Fuck!
Yeah, it's Shazar.
Yeah.
He says to you,
I'm not giving them the
when
orb, Shazar.
when I cast my... Damn it, Mark, listen to me. When I cast that spell up in the desert, I saw something in that thing. You don't have any fucking idea what you're fucking dealing with that orb.
Yeah, so why would I possibly give it to your master?
Because they're the only ones who can keep it safe right now. Even the Veiled Alliance. They don't know what the fuck they're dealing with.
Keep it safe. They just murdered a bunch of innocent people to threaten me to cooperate when I was already cooperating.
Yeah, because no, you weren't fucking cooperating. You're trying to fucking fool them. And they can see it. They're not fucking morons. You've been dealing with fucking low-level people this entire time, and you think that you and your clutch are smart and powerful, but fucking fucking elements, damn it, Mark. You don't know what you're dealing with. They put this fucking orb in my eye without me fucking even knowing it. They will take it from you one way or the other, and they will kill everyone in this fucking city to get it. So you either save thousands of fucking lives today, or you fucking give it up and you find it another day after I tell you how to reach the Veiled Alliance.
Why do we ever trust this person?
Don't you understand that if I wanted you dead, you would already be dead? If I wanted Char dead, would I have told him to hide when he came? No! I told him, hide yourself. He didn't know who I was talking to. I could have taken Char directly to him. And Char would be dead now. If I wanted to, I could have taken them to you last night, but I didn't because you saved my life. I'm trying to save yours, and I'm trying to save the lives of Tyr.
Yes, me too. So help me. What do I do?
You give them the orb.
Give them the orb. That's our best.
They're not going to. You think that the Mermillions and the Defilers are going to use the orb to slaughter the entire city? They're going to use it to delve into its secrets and find some long plan they're going after. They want to destroy the Veiled Alliance. It buys you time. You can find and recover the orb later.
All right, then. Then that is what I will do. Craucus, please come to the well.
I'm asleep.
Oh, shit. All right.
But if you broadcast that to everyone,
yeah,
I will say
I've shared everything as openly as I can.
Yeah, Craucus is unconscious. Maybe you can lift him. Are you strong enough to lift him?
No one is.
I ask you that question.
I don't know. I'll try. I'll make my way over there as quickly as possible. I will put my weapons away so that all four of my arms are free. and then I will quickly inspect for
50-50 shot.
orb.
50-50.
Wait, no, you don't know where it is.
But I don't know where it is,
over-
right? So
when you come over outside of the mind
that's
space,
fair, right? I don't
want
know
to
where it
have
is.
a conversation with you.
Yeah, okay, that's
So
fine.
don't skip ahead.
Yeah, no, fair. So Ma'ak will cross the square as quickly as he can, and then because he knows they're reading his mind, he will say aloud, "They'll have us the rat orb. I don't know where Crocus put it, but they'll kill the whole city if we don't give it up."
I know where it is. Can you make me invisible?
I can make us invisible, but they'll not attack us if I do.
Well, don't do it until I say when.
Okay.
And I reach into Crocus's ass and try to pull out the orb.
And you do. I mean, it's not that far out.
The moment that I have it in my hand, I say now.
I make him invisible, and myself
And
as
then
well.
I take flight, but simultaneously I also cast a spell on myself.
What is that?
It is. Oh, I didn't mean to click that. Okay. Well. My intention was to cast enhance ability on myself. Maybe that means that's a failure. I don't know. But two things. I wanted to first guide myself so that my spell would be more likely to succeed. And also I'm trying to enhance my bear's endurance. The target has advantage on constitution checks. It also gains 2d6 temporary hit points, which are lost when the spell ends. So my intention is to make myself less likely to pass out if they cast another defiling spell, and to fly as far and as fast as I can.
This isn't an important note, but when they reach up my ass, do I wake up?
Constitution check. Or Constitution save, rather. Constitution save. Because you will get to do a and actually everybody can do a Constitution
19?
save because another round is. So you do come to. And also everybody else who has passed out can give me another Constitution save because you can do this every round. But yeah, Crocus, you definitely wake up.
So you wake up and
you're still out.
My hand is in your ass.
Yeah. And then Char, what was Char's con save?
4.
Okay, so you're still out as well. But yeah, Crocus, you wake up. Now you're oh man. When that happens, when you pull the orb out of Crocus's ass, and Jesus Christ, and Crocus pops up, and then you make him invisible, at least psychically invisible.
Mm-hmm. Does Crocus have an erection now?
Massage that prostate.
Yes, can Geza massage his prostate so he ejaculates at the bad guys?
We would have to know where they were. It'll just be a random crapshoot.
Shut up.
Inside your mind, Ma'ak, you hear Bap yell, "No! No!" And as he turns invisible, you start to see you see half a dozen fireballs come out of half a dozen windows. You see 2 more ice storms come crashing down, and you see a meteor strike hit.
Jesus Christ! Sorry, elements preserve us.
And you see hundreds of people are incinerated, obliterated, frozen to death, and crumble into pieces all around you. And you hear a voice inside your head say,
And not only that, like, okay, so Crocus, you got to give me another. Crocus and Geza, you got to give me another con save.
Well, before I do that, we need to resolve my spell casting, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, what was the spell casting again?
So I'm casting Enhance Ability, but I've never done this before. I'm not clear on how it works. It's a touch spell.
Yeah, so it would be just a touch to yourself.
And then...
When I think about enhanced ability, I touch myself.
But, like, I don't understand why there's a roll component. Is there a success and failure number?
Let me open up your character sheets. It's under features and traits.
It's a spell under second level. It's a second level spell.
Enhance ability. You touch a creature and bestow upon it a magical enhancement. Choose one of the following effects. The target gains the effect until the spell ends. Bear endure. Which one were you trying to do?
The Constitution one.
Bear's endurance or?
Yeah, Bear's endurance. Yep.
Target has advantage on Constitution checks. It also gains. Where does it say that there is a roll?
There just is a roll. Like on it, there's a 2d6 like button.
Yeah, it says it also gains 2d6 temporary hit points. So you get to add 2d6 temporary hit points to.
Oh, okay. So that roll was just the HP. So the Constitution thing just happens. Okay.
Yeah, that's just an advantage.
Okay, so I have, I think it was 9. I have 9 temporary hit points then, added.
Yeah.
And then I have advantage on Constitution checks or saves or both. Does it specify?
It would just be a Constitution check. Advantage on Constitution checks.
Okay, so it doesn't actually apply to saves then.
Not saves, it turns out. Oh.
Well, then this was badly conceived, but oh well. That's what I did.
I mean, theoretically, no, it's a check, not a save. Yeah.
I don't know. That's pretty dumb, but you have the Bear's endurance, except when you need to save with that endurance.
You know what? I'm gonna be a kind god tonight and say that Constitution checks of any kind, which would include saves.
Thank you. So yeah, I have advantage on con saves, and I take flight as far and fast as I can.
Yeah. So, but Crocus, and you have to give me that con save again.
17.
Okay, so you managed to stay awake this time.
So my first is a failure, and my second is still a failure.
Well, just as you're about to take flight, and I'll be, once again, a kind god, a kind elemental power, and you're only a few feet off the ground when you fall unconscious and collapse. As you do so, the orb falls out of your clutch and rolls across the ground and becomes very clearly identifiable. This point, again, inside your head, Ma'ak, Bap says, please, Ma'ak. They won't stop. And then you'll be traveling around the city with a ticking bomb that all they have to do is cast a defiling spell in your general vicinity and kill dozens and hundreds more. And they'll keep doing it, and they'll keep doing it until they find it. Listen, there is something. Listen,
bag.
God,
is there no
can I scoop up the orb, Aaron? I mean, how close?
Yeah, you can. You're only maybe. Yeah, you're within range easily.
All right. So when all this fire and stuff is going off, are we not getting hit, or are we getting hit but we're immune to it?
You are protected from elements by the potion that Bap gave you.
That's pretty awesome.
That Shazar gave you.
All right. I will hold the orb up with my tallest arm It's here. It's here. And I will walk over towards the well.
Okay.
Did they stop firing? Fireballs
everything. Yeah, everything stops. You look around you, and you can see there's flames rising up from charred bodies all around. People screaming in terror and crying. You can see that half of the Verdant Revival is dead.
Did I succeed in giving a drink to Arup?
Arup is dead.
So what you're telling me is I did not succeed in giving Arup a drink because I did state that intention.
Oh, no. Shit. Sorry. Yes, you're right. I'm sorry. Arup is still alive, but unconscious.
Okay.
Let me just double check that. Yeah. Unconscious, but Micah is dead. The individual she was the advocate for. Sapphire is still alive. And then, like I said, like a dozen other of the Verdant Revival are still alive, but another half of them are lying charred and dead in the Shadow Square. So, Marc.
Okay, can I get to the well?
Yeah, you walk over to the well. Everything goes quiet.
I climb down into the well as quickly as I can.
Okay, so you climb over into the well. What do you do as you go down into the well?
I use psychometric touch on the orb and identify it per the spell and learn as much about it as I can before I have to surrender it.
You learn.
So we can get into that another time, but basically,
no. You know exactly. You receive nothing from it.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
All you get as you look into the orb, you realize that trying to identify it, there's something that is preventing you, something within it that is creating an opposing force. But as you look into it, remember before that first time when suddenly it almost felt like a beating heart?
Yeah.
When you look into it now, you see this iridescent dark blue fetus. You see two blue sapphire-like eyes open up and look back into your eyes.
I mind link with it.
Whatever you mind link with, it comes across. Okay, so everybody like plug your ears if this is going to hurt your ears. It comes across like this. It's just this hideous screech that comes back. And you give me a dex save.
Yikes. Okay. Dex save is a 16.
16. You just managed to hold on to the orb.
Okay.
It drops.
Yeah.
But
okay.
when you do, in that moment, there's a glimmer of hope in your mind. Because as you attempt to link with whatever this thing is, you realize that this is not an innate magical artifact. This is a living creature with a will of its own.
Where is your mother?
That's as far as you can get. Any other attempts, like you get like that same feedback, trying to come. But like I said, there's something that you read in it, that this is a blossoming life that's awakening. And if anything, it might be more of a curse to the Filers than a boon.
I don't know if you can understand me, little one, but if it's in my power in this life or the next, I will come for you again. Until then, do not cooperate with these dark magicians to the best of your ability. And if I can, I will free you too. And then I will continue to climb down the well until I can hear the goons down there or whatever.
Okay.
And I'm not being silent, so they'll hear me clicking, coming down the thing. So,
and then you hear several voices say, drop it now.
Do I see them or do I just hear them?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you can see their vague forms down there in the darkness moving.
How many?
Quite a few. It's not just one person waiting down there. I mean, they're ready.
More than 4?
It seems like the entire defiler, like the entire clandestine defiler population was called out for this mission.
All right. Well, I will note every face that I can recognize.
Give me an investigation check. Yeah, give me an
thing.
investigation check on that.
Quite skilled at investigation and happen to be a genius amongst my people. So that's 17.
17. You catch a pretty clear glimpse of one person.
Okay.
Directly.
I will note them. And I will say aloud, no more magic.
You have our word.
I drop the orb.
Okay. When you climb back up top, what were you guys doing now? Now that the magic is stopped, and I'm not going to make you roll for further Constitution saves. Eventually, over the next few moments or rounds, the rest of you manage to wake up. You go to each other, you shake each other, and basically get everybody woken up. And as you come to, you now look around the square and you see the absolute devastation that's been wrought.
I'm gonna need to roll for sanity.
Yeah, if there
different
was
game,
sanity,
but yeah,
different game, but yeah, you would. I mean, just think about it, like just role play it out. I mean, how would it affect you? But I think that's probably a good place to pause now. Ruminate a little bit until next time on the aftermath of this horrifying terrorist attack that the defilers of Tyr have laid upon the people in their effort to gain the orb. And the last thing I'll say is that Ma'ak, in your mind, Bap says, I'm sorry, Ma'ak. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know this would happen. If I did, I would have let you keep the smuggler's pouch. I didn't realize they would extract this out of my brain the way they did.
Is this for just Ma'ak, or did I hear this too?
If Ma'ak is metaconsort, then you do.
I haven't. I've been more focused, so I haven't been just switching it around and stuff. So no, it's probably still connected. Yeah. I mean, Ma'ak is kind of speechless. He's trying to keep from saying something furious right now, so he's just letting him talk.
He said, I told you, Ma'ak, to come alone. We would have had till sundown. You would have had till sundown to bring the orb back, and you could have escaped the city.
They would have taken it anyway. Now at least they've shown.
But you would have had a head start, and these people wouldn't be dead.
Yes, these people wouldn't be dead.
I may not be able to hear what he's saying, but the next time I see this motherfucker, I'm going to kill him. No matter what.
I'm going to kill all of them.
Shazar.
Every last one of them.
Char.
I'm going to hunt them to the end of their goddamn days. And you, Bap, I'm saving you for last. And I end Metaconcert with everyone. I don't want to hear it.
Well, but he said, as you start to end it, he's like, but Katendeo.
Tell it. Tell it to Keza. I'll keep it going, but I'm not going to say anything.
You were saying, Shazar?
He says to you, the drunken giant. The drunken giant. It's right over there. I don't know if they even survived. but it's the drunken giant. Go there. Ask for Catandeo. I don't know. Beyond that, you know he tells you what the sign is, the sign of the Veiled Alliance. Just tell them that you're there on behalf of your former master, Iban. And after this, there shouldn't be any more pretense. I don't know. But I still have this orb in my eye, which means I'm still beholden to them. Maybe I'll just put a dagger in my belly tonight and be done with it.
That would certainly save us some time.
Wait a minute. He has the orb back in his eye. Wait, what? What?
No, the orb that is
never
in
lost
not
it because he
different
didn't
orb.
show up. He didn't show up.
Yeah, he always had a Mysidian orb in his eye that is eyeball-sized. It is not the grapefruit-sized orb that we were carrying.
Yeah.
Two separate orbs.
Well, let's just
He
cut
said
his
it's-
head open.
Yeah.
Um,
It says,
Yeah, when we find him.
But I just want to reiterate, Shazar. Char heard you give us up. They didn't extract anything. Maybe you thought they would, but you were heard willingly giving this information, and you made damn sure we didn't have the one thing that would protect this entire city. This is on you, so maybe you should put a dagger in your belly.
but also, they control my life. And I can't bap out of my brain until they take this orb out. What did you want me to do? I could have killed Bap. I could have killed Jar if I wanted to, but I saved his fucking life.
Sure.
Why doesn't you make our meeting? Why didn't you come? I would have taken the eye. I would have hidden it. I could have used your bag. I would have hidden the orb. We could have fled.
You don't know. You don't know. And I know they're listening now. Maybe they're not because they've achieved their goal. And so maybe I have some time to do openly now. And I will because I don't care anymore. They can listen to me all they want. They control every moment of my life. Do you understand what it means
Thought I did.
to be a doppelganger and to be forced against your will to be someone for so long that you lose yourself? You no longer know whose thoughts are your own and whose thoughts are theirs. Do you know the torment that brings down upon you? Do you understand? I feel like I'm two people split between multiple worlds. I had to give them something, but I was trying to save you, and I was trying to mitigate the harm.
You were
If I
trying
wanted
save
to,
yourself.
I could have led Char directly to them and he'd be dead now and he'd deserve it for the way he's treated me.
You're a very selfish man, Shazar. You brought it on yourself. Every action you
Wait,
took
can I
was
come
selfish.
over and beat the shit out of this guy?
I mean,
knew where
if
he
we knew
was.
where he was,
Ugh.
Shazar, I hope we don't see you again.
Oh, I hope we do.
No. I may be
hope the dead
your only hope
forgives us
left in
all.
this city.
Oh, please.
Continue to delude yourself. Thanks for the one useful thing you've ever done. Hopefully I meet Catandeo and he can solve this. But
Do not place the deaths in this shadow square upon me. I told you how to save their lives.
They're all on you, sir. They're all on you.
No, they aren't on me. They're on you because you felt that you deserved to maintain control of that orb that you don't even
No.
understand.
No.
You're
That
a
was
fool,
not-
Shazar. I told you I wanted your bag so I could ferry it to someone that I was told could be responsible with it. I want no part of this. You wanted to insert yourself. You wanted to make it more difficult. This is your fault. Go fuck yourself.
I'm ending it. I'm ending Meta
Good.
Concert. I can't. Yeah. Mock does not know what to feel. He has never. I'm sure he thinks his clutchmates hate him. So, he is very down for sure. But he is waiting for someone to make the next move because right now he's just like probably wants to help anyone who's still alive or wounded but could live. I mean, he wants to undo some or help somehow, though he's not really a healer, and these people are foreign to him. He's, if he can save a life, he'll do it.
So,
Can Mark share with us the face that he saw of a defiler clearly?
I will, absolutely.
So
Yes,
we can
yes.
try and track this fucker
Anything
down.
that Ma'ak is probably going to be replaying the events of today in his mind for the indefinite future, but definitely reviewing any key pieces of information or details he might have missed the first time through. Anything you guys pick up, we'll share, and Ma'ak will definitely share like all the stuff that he saw that you didn't, or heard, or psychically experienced, all of that stuff. Any clue that we can find to find these guys, we're going to use it.
I want to keep all of their heads. I want to keep all their heads with us.
In the immediate, I just put my hand on you, Char, and I say, there are people here we can help. Let's triage. And I walk away and start to find our party members first, and then concentric circles out to see who I can help and who I can heal.
Okay, and you can do you can heal to the extent of your ability for the day, and then we can kind of wrap up there. Just a quick little side. This is what represents the major campaign event when you have 4 black beads and 2 blue.
Right. Wow. I wonder what 5 black beads would have gone then.
So just
Well, 6.
It would have been more hopeless of a scenario. What?
Well, I mean, so like basically, like it was a terrible choice. It was a Sophie's choice, so to speak.
You didn't give us a choice. It was just, do we give them the orb, or do we give the orb after they kill people?
That's the Sophie's choice. That's the Sophie's choice.
right. Do we try to
No,
get
one
them
of the
back
children
later?
live in Sophie's choice. One of the children
right?
gets to live.
Well, one of them lives for a while.
The
Had we
choice.
given
Whatever.
the orb, everyone in this square would have lived today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Probably.
And perhaps for the rest of their life, because who knows what the Defilers would ultimately use it for? Maybe to overthrow the Sorcerer King. Who knows what they would have used it to do? But you
But that's
did
like saying
receive.
maybe we should give the Al Qaeda this nuclear weapon because they're not going to use it.
Yeah.
People in this
They're not gonna
They
use
showed
it
their
today.
tactics very clearly.
negotiation
No
with
thanks.
terrorists.
Yeah.
That's all on them. I
Mean, they're not. I mean, obviously, that's the thing. The Defilers are not to be reasoned with. So,
No.
now you know. Yeah.
Uh,
Having said that, you do know now how to find Catandeo, and that may be of some help.
He's gonna want to talk to us.
yeah, like, hey,
yeah.
we were this close to delivering this fucking weapon of mass
super
destruction
important thing
to
to
you.
you. Sorry.
That thing that
Yeah.
happened outside, that was us failing. So
Well, and also, Rob, you made that important connection with whatever the thing is. So now you have information that nobody else possesses.
Mm-hmm.
And you also understand that no matter what the Defilers do, they won't be able to identify the object, because you now realize that the obsidian orb defies identification.
well, they still know that they can use it to magnify their shitty powers. So
That's
Yeah.
the only part they're gonna care about anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
but ultimately, they're unlikely to do that again anytime soon because, well,
Well, what fucking help
They'll
do
go
they
to
need
ground.
when they can meteor storm people? I mean,
right.
Yeah, but they can meteor storm. The thing you got to remember is that it amplified. It was all part of their plan.
so did the orb amplify their magic because it was in Crocus's
Yeah.
ass when all that magic went
Yes,
off?
it did.
it was
That's
within.
why
It
we-
was.
that's
It
why we
was
had to-
within.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I didn't want
That's
it anywhere
why
near
Bap-
when the spells went off. God
But
damn
that's
it.
why Bap told you to come alone, so that the orb would not be within range.
Can I
Yeah,
tell
no,
you
you
what
know
really
where it would have
pissed
been?
me
It would have
off?
been at the
They
Golden
are-
Ninex where you said they had a kill crew
Yeah.
set up. So then
But
they
the
would have
thing
burned that
that killed-
place to the ground and taken the orb.
He said,
They were taking it
"Come
anyway."
alone to an event where a whole lot of people are gonna want to be.
I know.
I really need to talk
wasn't
to
it
Bap
enough to
about
just walk away from the group?
strategies.
I don't
And
see
I'm
why.
done
I
taking
don't see why
advice
that.
from
That
Bap.
was
If we
I don't see
listen
why
to
that mattered at
anything
all.
Bap Shazar says, we deserve what happens to us.
Well, they were watching.
If we had killed him when I wanted to kill him, we
Yeah.
wouldn't be here right now.
You're
And
right.
I'm not saying that to be just I told you so, but
No, you're right.
we've got to stop trying to play nice. We're like the Democratic Party with the Republicans. We're playing a game of Emily Post with a bunch of people that are savages. We need to start killing these motherfuckers and showing them.
To be fair, even if Bap was dead, they could have come after us once
They were
knew
coming
we
after us anyway. That was
they were coming
clear.
after
Yeah, but
us.
we'd have these eyeball.
If we
Yeah,
had
what-
And
if we
his
had
bag.
killed Bap way back before we crossed the gate, they would have had no reason to come after us. They came after us because Bap
Yes, at that
put them onto
point.
us.
Yeah. And told him about the orb.
Yeah, because Bap is enslaved to them, and he'll do anything he can to get that orb out of his eye.
Yeah, he was just trying to level up personally.
Well, no, he's trying to like not
Yeah,
be
regain
schizophrenic
his freedom and
He is
sanity and all
being
that.
like, listen, like this is the thing I don't think you guys understand. Bap has been tortured by these people for years. He has lost all sense of himself. He doesn't know who he is anymore, and he's desperately trying to regain himself. He has been living in his own single hell for 3 years. Don't you think that kind of person will do anything they possibly can to save themselves?
But he
And
didn't.
end
He didn't
the
take
horror?
the risk that we had offered. We
You
were his
don't-
way out, man.
You do not offer the solution for him. The only person that can take that orb out of his head is the fucking Mermillion.
Why?
You don't know because you didn't ask him.
Well, we didn't really get the opportunity to, but even still, like, it doesn't make sense. Like, why couldn't we just take a false eye out of somebody's head? Like,
Well,
the
you could've had it
fact
till
that we couldn't
Magic.
make
It's a
to the-
magic eye.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Because if that's the case, he could have done it himself. He could have dug it out with a dagger.
Right. It probably has a
Alright,
kill
alright.
switch or something. Like if it's separated, preemptively or without the controller, it kills him.
I mean,
None of
like,
that-
this is the
none of
thing.
that
Like, he
absolves
tried
that.
every which way. I mean, outside of his stupid choice, which, yes, it was a dumb choice. It was a selfish choice for him to keep the smugglers back. But outside of that, he did everything he could to save you all. To do what he could to walk that line, to skirt it, to give the Mermillions what
why
he
did-
thought was enough, but also allow you an out.
But
He
he's
overplayed
completely
his
set us
hand.
up.
These deaths are the responsibility of Bap. He
Absolutely.
overplayed his hand, and he's
I mean,
doing the
he's
same
not
thing.
like, obviously he didn't do it as elegantly as he should have, but
Yeah,
he's
'cause
not
the-
like he's not a perfect person.
Hundreds
Nobody's
of people are
fucking
dead
perfect.
because of Bap. It's that simple.
I
I'm
mean,
done
I
with
would-
Bap. and
I
his
would
No,
beg
hundreds of
differ.
people are
His-
dead because
His
I
fake
tried to be a nice
apologies
guy.
are done. I'm done with Bap saying, "Well, you misunderstood my motives." That's like saying, "I'm sorry you misunderstood me after you did me wrong."
Yeah.
We're done.
I mean, like,
I don't
these are
wanna-
all
I don't-
philosophical
Mark,
questions
can you
that can
please
be,
block Bap from ever being in my head? I don't
I
ever
don't-
want to hear about Bap unless his guts are on my hands.
I will try. I don't. It's We'll see.
We
We'll
should
see.
never converse with him again.
I have no intention of conversing with him again.
Yeah. Geza is all about forgiveness and freedom and stuff like that, but there's just no. Bap was such a fucking tool when he demanded his bag back, and he immediately went from that meeting to sell us out. And he knew that the bag was the only thing that could keep them from harnessing this power to do grand destruction. So this is a choice he made knowingly.
Yeah, but it was also the only thing that he could possibly imagine in his mind that if he hands that over,
Bullshit,
it'll.
bullshit.
No, he could have said, if he knew, and he did know, that they were supremely powerful and that they could use this, if it was outside of the bag, they could use this to cause great harm to his city, his people, his home. He could have left the bag in our possession knowing that I fully intended to give it to him as soon as we found Katendeo. If he'd focused on finding Katendeo instead of selling us out before we could take it out of protective custody, then everything would have been okay. And his family, his home, his city, all of these people wouldn't have died because he would have made a choice to save them instead of to sell them out. Fuck him.
Next time on
Right.
There's no redemption for Shazar and Geza's eyes anymore, and I don't think any Geza and Ma'ak were the only, like, Ma'ak out of an honor code, Geza out of hopefulness wanted there to be redemption, but he's beyond redemption now. He knew that this.
Well, no, and I think that probably just the way that Bap responded, I think he realizes too that at this point it's over for him.
Yeah, he should end his own life before we end it for him. So,
well, I mean, I think probably what's going to happen now is that instead of moving towards that redemption arc, he's going to probably just
go towards evil.
Down. Yeah,
double down on,
because probably in his eyes, he thought that he was giving you an out, like in his eye, yeah. He probably thought he was giving you an out and a way to escape and a way for him to to get out of his situation.
I get what I want, and you guys get to live. And so everybody wins. You live, I get what I want. And
all these people don't die. And all these people don't die. And,
why were they going to die in the first place? They only died because we were lured to Shadow Square.
Yeah,
right?
He set a bad.
He set the date and time. He set the location. And I came here to meet him.
He chose the busiest time of day in a public square with the poorest people, and maybe he didn't know that there was a fucking cult meeting here every day at this time too. Maybe he didn't. But
that's probably absolutely part of it, because he felt like, if I do it this way, then you'll have no choice but to just hand it over.
Yeah.
Or just, if you had he's going to tell himself to the day he dies, if Ma'ak had just shown up by himself and done what I had told him to without anybody else coming,
and that's what I don't get.
Get out of the city before the end of the day.
That's what I don't get.
He told you. He told you very clearly. He was like, you were supposed to come here alone because I was supposed to deliver this message from the Defilers, who are here right now, that you were supposed to return before sundown and throw the orb
to the concert that all of your friends had tickets to.
Well, he didn't know that his friends had tickets to this concert. That was the miscalculation.
Yeah, he didn't know you guys were involved. He didn't know what you were playing. He only knew.
But I still walked away from them and made myself available.
Dude, that doesn't matter. You're being watched. He knows that you're all that. They know you're all there in the square.
They were okay. So then is the idea that the way he was going to save us was I was going to come to this meeting alone. Nobody else was going to be in Shadow Square. And he was going to be like, listen, you got to come back here at midnight with the orb and you got to drop it in that well or all your friends are going to die. Is that basically...
That's what he told you.
Yeah,
that was his favor to me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. Awesome.
And that you need to go back, and in the time you're given, you need to get the fuck out the city. And he was probably going to tell you a secret way to leave that you could bypass the Defilers, that they would never see you.
And the reason that coming alone matters is because if you had come alone, we wouldn't have empowered their spells in the moment of confrontation.
Yes. Because they were going to murder all those people anyway?
They weren't going to murder anybody because there wasn't going to be...
they followed us here because we came in mass, right?
An obsidian orb wouldn't have been present at this initial meeting if you had come alone, because Craucus brings the orb everywhere and therefore brought the orb to the meeting.
So they... so the idea was basically, since the minute BAP separated from us, basically the minute we had that Char got attacked, we've been watched, we've been followed, they've been watching our every movement, and so the idea is they were just naturally following us to Shadow Square anyway, because that's what they are doing now. They're trailing us, and then but they still knew that but they knew about my meeting with BAP anyway, so he still gave us up.
They knew about your meeting.
It still doesn't track. So sorry.
Well, remember what the elf said, that he was going to talk.
That I fucked them.
He was talking on behalf of BAP, on behalf of Shazar. So outwardly, the two of you are going to be talking. Meanwhile, he was going to be sending psychic messages that were not being overheard by the Defilers back to, that he was going to be impersonating you in the psych, agreeing to bring the orb back.
Why couldn't he have done that even though we all showed up?
Because the deal was already broken.
Like, why couldn't he have done that anyway?
He didn't come alone, and they saw that he didn't come alone, so they knew he
But
was
that
in
makes no
violation
sense.
of
If
the
they
deal.
were following us, they would have known if we were going to be there or come alone at all. I agree.
That's
with
how
Bob.
they knew.
No, they knew from the start that you were there. That's why they were there to begin with. Because they knew you were all coming.
There was a deal where they were going to meet Ma'ak alone, and then they saw him not alone, and they were like, the deal's obviously not going through.
Well, no, the deal is like, oh, look, instead of like us having to broker a deal, they just delivered the orb to us and we can just do it now.
But the problem, I think maybe the reason we might be feeling some frustration is that when we were told that there was going to be this thing in the square and that was a story point, and we were told that the meeting was in a square at that same time, as players, because of those two forces, as players, we never had a choice to not all show up.
Right.
Because
Are you
we
saying
were
that I should
told
have
for this
convinced all
one
the other
story
players to
thread,
not go to the
you have to show up in this.
Right. That's what Marc
We
would have to do.
we
Convince you all not
actually
to go.
as
you would have had to
players, I think
convince
we
them.
felt a bit.
Listen, you had 4 black beads for your campaign point. Jesus Christ! Like,
If it wasn't,
if you had
four,
if you only had one black bead, it would have gone very different. So like you had 4 black beads, so everything was arrayed against you.
Yeah.
Sorry, it just
So
it
that's
does
the
not
bottom,
seem that there was a chance to
Some
win.
shit was gonna happen.
And that sucks.
Our chances,
The chance
our
is that,
chances-
I mean,
our chances to leave with the orb were slim to none.
0.
Yeah.
They were 0.
There was a possibility that if I didn't fail 2 con rolls in a row, that
Yeah,
I
there's
would have
a little
gotten
bit
You
of
with
could
the
only
possibility.
fly
orb.
50 feet. You wouldn't have even been able to get over the rooftops, man.
They wouldn't have been able to track me if your invisibility
Yeah, 'cause
was
you're
working
invisible.
properly.
Okay, all right.
That's why
yeah.
that was our one.
Okay.
That was our one play, and if I could get it away, they wouldn't be empowered. But you guys would have been ensnared, and I would have had to try to break you out of fucking some defiler prison.
Yeah,
or
right.
something
That would have gone great.
by myself, or me with Laj Abish. I don't know.
That would have been fun.
Yeah. That would have been where we found ourselves, because I refuse. There's no reality wherein Geza willingly gives up the orb because his one.
I
purpose
just,
in life is to
especially
deliver it.
because they proved the point when they
Yeah.
were like, "Oh, you took too long, Slaughter."
Yeah, after they've already
They're
killed
terrorists.
Not gonna
They're terrorists. They
Yeah,
don't
yeah, and
fucking
you
care.
made us capitulate to them.
and you don't negotiate with terrorists. That's the rule. So if terrorists,
I
And when
tried.
someone tells you to kill
I
someone,
tried.
listen.
no, I'm saying we, in our goodness, our attempt to do the right thing, we could never concede willingly until there was no choice left. We had to take all options until there were none left on the table, and we did. It resulted in a mass death scenario, but like we could not willingly hand it over. There was no reality where that was a good choice.
I mean, at the end of the day, you've got to look at it like not all role playing situations are about us like vanquishing the opponent. Sometimes it's about what hard choice are we going to make out of the hard choices that we have. And that's what you did tonight. You had to make you made your hard choice based on the
But
hard
the
choices
thing
you
is,
were given.
It didn't feel like a choice.
It was absolutely a choice, Rob. You had the
it-
choice
no,
to
dude, it-
hand the orb over and say and prevent the death of thousands of people, or do what you did, and that's what you chose.
and
I
be
was
responsible for
perfectly
the deaths of
expecting you to
thousands
go
of people.
either way, and
Well,
It's
like,
a
often-
lose-lose.
because
That's
oftentimes-
a lose-lose. So
yeah, of course it's a
I just
lose-lose.
understand
Then
why
what's
our
wrong with a
characters did what they
lose-lose
did,
narratively?
because that's
You will always be like every great TV show is filled with lose-lose situations, and it's about the choice you make in that lose-lose as to where the narrative goes and what makes the narrative
all right.
interesting.
Well,
And how
what
about if
happened was Ma'ak gave in to
and
terrorism.
because
and
of
it
the
feels
fact
like
that you
shit.
had 4 black karma beads, you only had lose-lose situations to choose from.
Okay,
That's the way I designed this encounter, was based on this. So now you know in the future when you have more black beads when you have more black karma, bad karma than good karma on major campaign events, you know to expect fucking shit. for choices.
We will not be caught off guard again.
Yeah.
You better fucking believe it.
And I'm making the hard choice to go have dinner, so I will see you all in 2 weeks. Right?
I have to iron my
Well,
uniform.
unless we get black beads again.
All right, so wave good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.